to set the world on fire.
Please welcome Tom Summery. I'm here, and no white privileges have been saved you tonight, okay, guys?
Desire, and that one is you. No other will do. I've lost all ambition for worldly acclaim.
Any government is to monopolize as much violence as possible in order for it to inflict it on as many citizens as possible.
I've been on this like weird anarchist arc for a few months now. This is playing by their rules, exactly how they are.
I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame.
You're watching the Dog and Chicken Show. Like, share, subscribe.
That's right. It's time for the Dog and Chicken Show.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 150 of the Dog and Chicken Show Nuclear Raid. We got stories from Demi Lovato to, well, Trump being raided. There's a shit ton of stuff to talk about. We took a week off, so we got plenty to catch up on. I'm drinking some Buffalo Trace tonight. Of course, stars are available and subscriptions. You can get your free drinks in each week on that. And yes, Justin, you get 2 tonight since we disappointed you last week. But anyway, Tony, how you doing, sir?
I am wonderful. Just getting over a bit of a cough. So if you see me going, no, I didn't take up smoking again. Just, it's been a fun summer of cold, sickness, and afflictions. But yes, it is I, your 13-time Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast champion, the non-coppa friendly, the quadruple distilled and non-chill filtered blend master, Tony fucking G. You can find me at Tony the Rod 2.0 on the TikTok.
I fucking hated every second of that.
I loved every bit of it. The triple distilled and non-chill filtered, that is A+. That is A+. I mean,
if you hated it and you loved it, I know it was the right thing to do. Yeah.
Now the bigger question is, are you barrel proof tonight?
Tonight, no, I am not barrel proofed. I am sipping on. I just killed can't reveal what, but I just killed off a bottle of Irish whiskey. So I'm just triple distilled. It was a copper pot still. I'll reveal that.
Nice. Me this evening, I am also recovering from very, very interesting illness, but I won't get into too much of that because there's nothing better that people love to hear about on podcasts and people's medical maladies. That's basically everyone's favorite subject.
Do you want to hear about my anal fissures?
Not especially. But this evening, but on that subject, I am drinking Courvoisier VSOP. Well, no, I'm about to explain why because I'm still recovering. But yeah, I'm drinking Courvoisier VSOP because brandy's usually a little bit easier on the stomach. And also, if I end up having to do any gin shots tonight, there might be a chance that I will Ralphus all over this bar. So knowing knowing how spiteful our audience is, I'm probably going to be doing like 15 fucking gin shots tonight. So I know Justin, Tyler, and all of the many, many denizens of the Big Bucket Empire thinking that sounds like a challenge, Phil. That sounds like you're daring us here. So but no, really. You don't have to. That you don't you can make Tony chug the beers, make Chicken do the shots if you want, folks. I mean, you really can. But of course,
I actually am prepared.
Oh God.
I have a beer. I don't have the Chug Buddy handy. I think it's out in the dishwasher, but I've got a beer and I did bring a couple of shooter bottles, so I'm ready for either.
Nice.
I don't have shot glasses down here, so I'll have to do it the old-fashioned way. Yeah, I don't even have my Glen Cairns down here. This could be a problem. I had to
Bowie
wash it.
and
You guys
Bowie
made me
and
use them all
Pshaw.
the other night. I used all 8 of my Glen Cairns the other night drinking with you assholes for our next tournament on KOE Nation. But
the one that follows right after, because for a lot of you folks who don't know, over at KOE Nation on YouTube, the 32 Rye tournament has just completed the championship match. Bullet Rye versus Woodford Reserve. If you want to know which one won and became the Rye Whiskey of Extreme, or WAN even, you can go over to KOE Nation on YouTube and find out the championship match winner, folks. But yes, next week, the Sweet 16 Bourbon Tournament kicks off to find out what is the best bourbon in God's creation in this year of our Lord 2022. And then right after that, we're kicking into Tony's brainchild here, the 32 Irish Whiskey Tournament, which I want that to wrap up on St. Patrick's Day. But we will see. We will see how we get there, folks.
I don't know that we're going to be able to get that in before St. Patrick's Day because it's going to be a total of 31 videos, Phil. And I don't think we have 31 weeks till St. Patrick's
Day.
I
might have to double up a few. Like there might be a few Friday and Saturdays just so I can make that work. Because,
man.
You know, I mean, Tony, the people demand to know what is the best Irish whiskey, and we can't.
We don't even know that yet. Let's not put the cart before the horse.
I know. I got my goals. You got to have goals. You got to have goals in this life, folks. But yes, so that's what's happening over at KOE Nation on YouTube. But tonight here on Big Buckin' Empire on YouTube and Facebook, God Almighty, if you're not following and subscribed to both, what are you doing with this life, folks? But we got a lot that we're going to cover tonight. And also we have a special guest that's going to be coming later tonight. Hopefully, things always happen. You never know. But Nate Dallin, the attorney extraordinaire, will be coming by to give his take on the Trump debacle and possibly another story or two. We'll see it. We'll see how long he sticks around, but he will be here for the Trump to give us the breakdown on the Trump issues. So we will see how that goes. It's always funny. He both loves and hates my intros. So he goes, an attorney so good he could get sodomy charges reduced to just tailgating. It's like, I both love and hate that, Phil.
Yeah.
It's like, that's understandable.
Not only that, we got some other cool stories. We got we're going to talk about minor attracted people. Is that what it's called? MAP?
Maps.
Minor attracted people. That's kind of a.
I was about to say we used to just call them pedos, but now we got.
No, that's offensive. But let's not put the cart before the horse.
To who? The pedos?
Yeah. We'll
I don't care about offending them.
We'll get to that.
Their existence offends me greatly.
We'll get to that. Also, Biden claims that inflation's at 0%. Oh shit, Tony hitting it right away.
Yeah. Hey Tony, can I mention that you're a fucking asshole?
Next.
Well, so is Justin because
chicken. Okay, there, Justin.
So that pretty much just solved the Facebook subscription crisis.
We'll get our shots ready here. So we're going to talk about Biden's zero inflation. We're going to talk about, we mentioned Demi Lovato and Trump, of course. We talked about the maps, but also there's the Lake Mead situation with bodies just piling up since May. So we're going to talk about that as well. All that and much more on your favorite show to come to. This is, again, episode 150, Dog and Chicken Show. Let's get into it. Should we start with our shots and then get into our first story?
Shots.
I've got some options here. I'm just curious which one I should do. Now, real quick, before
I do have these that has the rim that measures 1 ounce, so I'll just use that.
There you go. So I've got some options here. I've got a watermelon pucker. I've got a Blue Chair Bay banana rum cream. That sounds pretty good. And I've got a tequila rose strawberry cream. Those are the shooters I've got.
Those are sexy. I got a.
What in God's creation is any of that? I've heard of the last one, and that's it.
I'm going to start with a George Dickel Tennessee single barrel whiskey, aged 9 years.
Ooh.
This is it's called Jerry's Little Dickel. because the guy that picked it, his name is Jerry, and he picked the barrel. So I talked to him for like 20 minutes. He talked me into buying this bottle.
Oh,
so
dude,
this is to Jerry in his little dickle.
Tony and I picked up a bottle of George Dickel 9-year store pick from Spirit World in Omaha, and
it's good.
That was my favorite sipper for a long time. Like that, like Chicken. You know how long it takes me to go through a bottle? That bottle was gone in 3 months.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, like normally it takes me about a year to get through a bottle. That one was gone in 3 months, which is like a testament to how good it was.
Before we do this is the starboard. Anybody wondering, mute someone, 100 stars per minute. Make someone sing, 750 stars. You pick the song. Make someone take a shot, 500 stars. Price goes up by 500 after every shot. Make someone.
Or you could just be a subscriber, and then you get a free shot every show, and it's only $5 a month. I'm telling you, folks, you're missing out. You're missing out on a great.
It is a much better deal, and the same goes for Beer Chug. 500 stars, $500 or 500 more. Added every time,
and that's only on Facebook, folks. Sorry for you YouTube guys, because Susan Wiki sucks at everything, and Facebook somehow is doing all right. So.
Tantui 10 man, that's a great campaign slogan. Make gin extinct.
Yes. All right, Ellis, shall we?
To fighting, stealing, and drinking. If you're gonna fight, may it be for a friend. If you're gonna steal, may it be a lover's heart. And if you're gonna drink, by God,
drink
it better be with me.
Cheers. Ting. Yeah. Woo.
Oh,
what
that was
proof
nice.
Is this? I picked a high proof on that one. I shouldn't have done that. 46.9%. Yeah. I could have picked something a little
mine was really tasty, actually. Phil, how was yours? Was yours beautiful too?
You know, you both can go fuck yourselves. Why am I doing the fucking gin? God damn.
Because that's what
you kind of made it a thing.
Yeah, that's all on you.
And right now, I'm kind of hating myself for it a little bit. But yeah, so that happened.
That was good.
That was delicious.
Yeah, you both get good shots.
Tequila Rose strawberry cream. That was nice. That was really nice.
Now, it's kind of funny. I was at Super Saver the other day, and they had like this can of gin that's like in a fucking kerosene can. And I'm just like, yeah.
That's appropriate.
That might. I spit out about 20% of that. I couldn't take it, dude. I was about to Ralph all over the fucking place. I got one gulp down. Like, oh god, this is a bad idea. Why? Like in that moment, I was like having that like I'm rethinking every decision I made in life. I'm thinking about how I got here. It's like, oh god, like yeah. So that was not worth it. That was
not worth it at all. I agree. Let's get into the first story. This is a great opening story. I'm so excited to talk about Demi Lovato. All right. If you didn't know, Demi Lovato, a few weeks ago changed pronouns. You weren't allowed to call Demi Lovato a she or a her anymore. And she decided that she was a they, them. And if you were to say anything otherwise on Twitter, you could have been removed.
They removed Jordan Peterson for, I think, or no, that was
that was Page. For somebody else. Yeah, for Elliot Page. Anyway, and then all of a sudden she flip-flopped and came back. And now she's a woman again. She's gender fluid. So because of feelings and because today
far more valid than facts, you bigot.
Yeah, absolutely. Now she's on the market again as a woman. So all of you transphobes, you can go after Demi Lovato again because she's officially a she, her, and we can fantasize about a woman again, and we can move forward.
Didn't she also sing to ghosts?
I believe so. Yes.
Oh, Jesus Christ! So it's kind of one of those. At what point do we just accept the fact that we're dealing with a very deluded individual?
When did she change back? Was that this week?
Yeah, just a few days ago.
Okay, so it originally
watch it change again tomorrow.
Originally, they changed their pronouns to they them on like May 19th, 2021.
She did.
No,
Chicken.
She did. Chicken. I'm talking about May 19th, 2021.
Yeah, but
when
now it's she.
Demi Lovato was they them.
But now she's
now
she.
that I'm going to, no, it was they them in May of 2021.
Who?
So listen.
Who was they them?
She was.
Who
they
was?
then.
No. How many? Who are you talking
they
about?
them then in 2021 of May was they then.
Who's they?
No, on first.
How many of them are there? Like, I'm confused.
Well, one specifically.
I just, good Lord. I just got to say, Mr. Saxgate, bro, if Hillary Clinton was raided by the FBI, would a random celeb's pronouns be, funny you should say that, Mr. Saxgate. Me, Tony, and Chicken had quite a vociferous debate about that this morning. I was like, that was, but we are saving it for 9:00 sharp Central Time when Nate Dallin, attorney extraordinaire, comes and gives his analysis.
Side note on that topic. Did you guys see the Kamala Harris thing where she comes in, she sits down, she's like, I'm a female with pronouns she and her. I'm wearing a purple suit and I am the vice president. I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? None of this needs to be said. Like,
yeah, that was one of the most awkward things you could imagine. Like, she went beyond her normal state of awkwardness and doubled down on it. Like,
could you imagine?
How can I outdo myself?
Could you imagine her like hosting a show like this? She'd be like, "I'm a female, and I'm hosting a show, and it's at this time on this day, and
I'm in a basement.
I talk into a camera and a microphone with a couple other people every week, and I'm giving you zero new information because I have no real thoughts or anything to really say. So I'm just going to keep talking about what I see around me. I have a little light up here to give me some better, it work."
She tried to justify it by saying that she was trying to be inclusive to blind people. Now, I just want to say
bullshit.
I know. No, that's what she tried to justify it with. Now, I understand not all people that are blind were born blind, but the people that were born blind, you describing that your suit is blue doesn't mean shit to them anyway.
They don't know what blue is, bitch.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was some NPC behavior.
Adolf.
We are good sports. Tear it up tonight. Anyway, let me read through this. Demi Lovato has switched back to using she, her pronouns, and in a new interview, she revealed why she made the change. The singer opened up about the topic during an appearance on the Spout podcast. I'm sure that's a great one. Response to host Tamara Dia asking her to explain they, them pronouns. A concept Dia said she wanted to respect, but admitted she did not fully grasp. Welcome to the fucking party. So Demi says, yeah, so they, them is I've actually adopted the pronouns of she, her again. So for me, I'm such a fluid person that I don't find that I felt like, especially last year, my energy was balanced in my masculine and feminine energy, so that when I was faced with the choice of walking into a bathroom and it said women and men, I didn't feel like there was a bathroom for me because I didn't feel necessarily like a woman. I didn't feel like a man.
Whoa, Chicken. I felt like I was right there. I thought like Demi Lovato came through and was taught, like, you just put your phone up to the microphone and just, Demi, take it away.
I've been practicing that in front of the mirror.
I am just stoked to find out now that pronouns are not so binding like shackles. And they can be changed, not only depending on how you're feeling, but also how they will benefit you in society. So I will be using this information moving forward to better myself, better everybody around me, and probably a little bit to manipulate everything that I possibly can within my reach. Not that she would do that.
No. Now,
Dalton says I sound like Lola Scumpy.
Now, just a quick thought, guys. So Demi Lovato's in Hollywood, right? That's what she makes her money doing.
Sure.
Okay. Now, you don't suppose her pronoun choice as of late has anything to do with... Well, no, not that. Like, I'm just going to posit an idea here. Do you think she would land a major motion picture role as one of the leading starlets as Demi Lovato, they, them, or Demi Lovato, she, her?
Was she casting for Batwoman?
I'm pretty sure
But
she's a singer.
Take your pick. Any Hollywood major motion picture that's got a budget of greater than $100 million, which is most of the big ones. Which one do you think is actually more likely? And that's what I think this was. This was a career move when she realized, okay.
She's a singer.
Okay, fuck, I don't know. Like, it shows how much I care.
Trying to get too deep on the part because I don't. She's probably been in something, but no, I'm pretty sure.
I was about to say I could have swore she was in some sort of movie or something, but
I'm sure.
But yeah, this shows how much I really follow Demi Lovato. So when you said Demi Lovato, who? Oh, the lady who sang at the Ghosts. Like, yeah, that's what I know her as. The lady is. I need to sing to the Ghosts for therapy. Which, Tony, I've been with you on a ghost hunt before.
Yes.
Has singing? Is that like standard operating procedure for?
Oh yeah, I generally like run into a place after doing a line of coke, singing "Old Man River." Standard practice.
I do "Man of Constant Sorrow" every time we start a ghost hunt.
Then me and Chicken will break into like "My Anaconda Don't" from Nicki Minaj.
Old Kentucky.
Oh, like me, I like I'll go with Magic Mushrooms and old sea shanties. Oh, I bid farewell to the shores and the land, and I paddled away from brave England's white
and then
sand.
we all start singing like fucking Irish drinking songs and get fucked up. Yeah, pretty much.
So this is just for clarity's sake. What Google's telling me Demi Lovato's acting experience would be Camp Rock, Sunny with a Chance. These are Disney shows. Princess Protection, Camp Rock 2, Barney and Friends, the OG. That's pretty impressive.
Oh, okay. So I knew she had some acting experience.
Eurovision Song. Oh, she was a voice actress in Smurfs: The Lost Village. She was on Glee.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
The X Factor, of course she was, as the bell rings, whatever the fuck that is. Charming. Jonas Brothers, the movie.
So she's been on a bunch of shit I've never watched.
There was a Dusk Till Dawn TV series I never saw.
Mr. Saxakeet says, I liked the who's on first bit before that was funny. I laughed, but I'm just worried. Is our thesis here, this is all ridiculous. Let's not respect someone's pronouns. It's not right. Now, it's not about the respecting of pronouns. It's the disrespect that she shows to people that actually like are non-binary and are actually like trying to state a case. She ruins the case for anybody who actually wants to talk about pronouns. She's making a mockery of it.
She makes a mockery of a lot of things.
She really is, because like
mocked.
I've been on Twitch a lot on a lot of panels, and I've talked with quite a few trans folk, like a way more than I would have ever talked to here just out in the cornfields of Nebraska. Okay. And there's folks that are, this is a very legitimate part of their identity. And Demi Lovato's just kind of putting it on and off like it's the fall fashion. And like, to me, that's like, you're not like, because I remember I was having a discussion with my daughter about this, and we were like, well, okay. Like, now, do you think it'd be like valid if I were to say, because we were driving, okay, for the next mile, I identify as a woman, but once I get to the next mile marker, I'm a man again. Would you consider that valid? And she's like, no. Not really. It seems more like you're just kind of playing a game. And it's like, okay. And what I do find really relieved is even the younger generation, they've drawn the line at Ollie London. Like, nope, Ollie, all of that's bullshit. You can't be a 30-something-year-old white dude and self-identify as a 22-year-old Korean. No, fuck you. That's the, like, so I'm glad it's like, okay, thank you. There is a line. It's like, and yeah, they're like, nope, Ollie London is actually that line. So
not just that, but Demi Lovato,
transracial, is that really a thing?
Oh, he fucked his face up with all kinds of plastic surgery to try and look Korean. And he's like, he says like he's a 30-something-year-old British dude, and he self-identifies as a 22-year-old Korean. And I'm like, in terms of the age thing, I know a lot of women that have done that, where they've self-identified as some age for like 5-6 years past when they were. Like, a lot of women self-identify as 29, even though they're like 34. But like, yeah, like that's That's silly. I'm sorry. That's
that's kind of racist.
No, the thing about Demi Lovato, though, like, this was part of her comeback story. This was her trying to repair her self-image after she went down for being like a massive crack whore, coke smuggler, and then had the big Netflix special basing all of her problems and her stardom and the issues that come along with it. Like, we know this story. It's as old as the hills. Child actress, singer.
No, this story is not as old as the hills.
Well, it's as old as some
Somebody
hills.
keeps
Hills.
changing their fucking gender every 3 weeks.
It's as old as some hills, all right? Some hills are younger than other hills, all right? That's just a fact, Jack. Jeez.
Fact, Jack.
Then she has to have the comeback
Listen,
Netflix special that's just
completed
bullshit. None of it's real. It's the I'm on Time magazine and I'm saying sorry I fucked up. It didn't mean shit. So this was just her, and I can say her now, trying to pander. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but I didn't believe it in May of 2021, and I don't really believe that she feels differently about it now. I think it was all just a publicity stunt.
Absolutely. So Mr. Saxakeet, hopefully I'm saying that right. We have fun here, guy. We have fun here, guys. I'm just giving you all a hard one. I want to hug each other, each and every one of you. But the previous comment, I personally don't really follow Demi Lovato. Neither do we. Like saying, who cares? The only reason
funny you should say that.
Again, Phil, you'll get your piece here in a second.
No, he won't.
The reason I like this is important because people do get banned on Twitter for this. For silly things like this that are just obviously normally, it would be who cares. But these people that act like this and we allow them to get away with it is the reason why, if we allow this, then we're allowing 87,000 people to get hired to the IRS to go after who? We've allowed it to happen this long.
All of us.
Yeah. We keep allowing these things to happen. We allow the Demi Lovatos of the world that have mild amount of power on social media and influencing people. We keep allowing them and do not mock them and do not shame them. Then they hold more power and they keep growing in power. Like that's why, sometimes it seems like a small whack-a-mole to hit, but God damn it, hit it. Like it's an easy target. It's an easy one to knock down, and it needs to be knocked down.
Every time LeBron puts out an insensitive tweet that is based off of a stupid knee-jerk reaction after not having the full scope of the story, you need to be held accountable for that because your reach is actually quite fucking vast.
And you're making
if you're
people
not
dumb.
going to apologize for it, you need to be held accountable for that shit.
Well, it's also something you got to keep in mind, Destiny had a very good point on his show because, he got canceled hard for talking about trans issues. And he said it's just really not worth talking about trans issues these days anymore because Heather, it's even worse because she is a role model to some girls and they are now more confused. Well, this is what I'm getting at here is like Destiny was saying, it's not even worth talking about the trans issues because they're so powerful. They're so powerful they can get you shut down for any mild criticism. And it's something I always keep going back to. And it's a great speech from Senator Rourke from the movie Sin City.
Say, not Beto, right?
No. where Bruce Willis's character is laying in the bed and actually. But Bruce Willis is laying in the bed and Senator Rourke goes, "Evening, officer." Then he gives him a very poignant piece of information, and it does relate very much to the trans issue about how powerful they are. He goes, "Power doesn't come from a badge or a gun. Power comes from lying big and getting the whole damn world to play along with you. The minute you can get someone to say what they know in their heart ain't true, you got them by the balls." And so that's very much the world we live in, folks. Folks are not allowed to speak what they actually think. Wow. Ain't that a great now to the folks who think that's a good thing, and to the folks who think that that's something that we need to do, and especially the folks on the left are like, they're a private company, they could do whatever they want. Well, all you've proved is that in the end you were meant to be bent to the will of a corporate entity, folks. That's like, it's so fascinating that the left has now just bowed down to the corporate overlords that they now love so much. So me as a capitalist right-winger, and me as a capitalist right-winger, I'm like,
we wanted.
What do you do when you have the monopoly? Turn the consumer into the commodity. Yeah, that's what we have now in this very unfortunate world where you can't say what you think, and you really can't think what you say anymore. So, but that is the unfortunate reality of this particular story is, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people confused from this, but I really think it's just an unfortunate reality of modernity. Unfortunately, we're still trying to figure this shit out, and there's some people that are going to exploit that, like Demi Lovato.
Yeah.
Bingo.
It's pretty rough. We got, from my point of view, I don't want a little genderqueer kids killing themselves because people in and around them make it clear. People like you are not valid. People like you or Demi Lovato don't deserve. Yeah. Like there's and maybe I'm misrepresenting this, but there's consequences to being a public figure and to being somebody who's doing what Demi Lovato does. And she is never gonna like have to deal with the repercussions of it. Like we're gonna get into shit.
We all are, Tyler.
Later in I know, yeah. We're later in the show. We're gonna talk about things of blaming Donald Trump or blaming Joe Biden or blaming other people for the influence they have on the rest of the world. And everybody wants to hold them to this high fucking standard of crazy goddamn conspiracy theory bullshit. Look what happened to Alex fucking Jones this last week. Like they just want to destroy the guy. Like I'm not saying what he said about fucking Sandy Hook was good, but Jesus fucking Christ, they're just trying to kill the guy financially and just ruin okay. Like, and they pretended like he just now admitted that he was wrong about Sandy Hook. No, he admitted that shit on podcasts like fucking 3 years ago. Like, this isn't a new revelation. Everybody's just acting like they just now heard that, oh, Alex Jones apologizes about Sandy Hook. Well, no shit. He did that a while ago because, yeah, a bunch of people got on his shit about it. Like,
Well, you remember all the one times
I
that
got
Trump
way off
denounced
on that
white supremacy, right? Like, because that only happened once.
Yeah. Well, or all the hoaxes that we've been fucking being shoved down our throat, whether it be the Fine People hoax, the fucking Russia dossier or the Steele dossier, fucking all these, like, they just keep shoving this shit down your throat and you're supposed to just believe it and accept it. And then you have, here we go. I'm dropping the cunt at 32 minutes and 30 seconds in. Demi Lovato is a cunt who is just using a group of people to drive her own popularity and to make money off of them. You want to talk about a grifter?
Yes.
Like, what is she doing? She is not making good content. She is not making new, she's using the people she already has and then goes, oh, fuck, I need to grow my audience. How about I make trans people like me? And she grifts off of them, takes all their fucking money, and she doesn't give a shit about them. She doesn't give a shit about you. She doesn't give a shit about anybody but herself. She's a narcissist cunt. Boom. There's a free rant for you guys.
Fan.
I can't agree more.
Now, this one, because you're talking about all the hoaxes that we were forced to swallow. I've actually got an interesting little list here. How many of these, like, if you're on the left, how many of these hoaxes do you still believe to be true? One,
you're welcome anytime, Sex Key.
The Russian collusion hoax. 2, Steele dossier hooker story. 3, Russia paying bounties on U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan. 4, Trump called neo-Nazis fine people. 5, Trump suggesting injecting bleach is to fight COVID. Trump overfed koi fish in Japan. Trump cleared protesters with tear gas for a Bible photo op. Hunter's laptop was Russian disinformation. January 6th was an insurrection to overthrow the government. Trump tried to grab the steering wheel of the beast. So, folks...
all fake news.
All fake news. But, folks, we now have something that we need to get into because we have here, folks, we have a man that is joining us this evening. We have a man that, when the Bar Association admitted him into one of their own, they looked down upon him and said, "You are my most wondrous creation." The one, the only, Nathan Dallin. How are we doing, folks? How are we doing, sir?
I'm doing so well. Extreme Nation, Extreme Cowboys, all. I'm happy to see you. I'm hoping you can all help me make sense of this Mar-a-Lago Trump violation of rights.
No, you came to the wrong place for
Jumping
making
right
sense
in.
of it.
Oh, well.
Right in. I'm going to tell you. So my family asked me, when was it? I guess it would have been Tuesday. Is that when everything happened, or Monday? I can't remember.
I think it was Tuesday.
Yeah, it was Tuesday. So on Tuesday, they asked me, say, Nate, how big a deal is this? And I said, I don't know yet. It's like, honest to goodness, like this makes so little sense to me. I just don't know yet. And today they released all the things that were seized from the home. Yeah. And I looked at that list and I thought to myself, oh, this is a nothing burger. Yep. They're on a fishing expedition, and I'm a little concerned now. So I'm much more concerned now than I was right when it first broke. I thought to myself, the likelihood that someone in the Trump family did something idiotic that could have warranted some possible wrist slapping, I'd say that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
It's medium to high. Yeah,
it's
somewhere
medium
in there.
to high. You know, Trump himself, whatever, but like some of his kids, not the best, not the brightest. All right, it's fine. So, you know, maybe they
That's
pinched,
putting it nicely.
Yeah, maybe they pinched, you know, from the Lincoln bedroom, they stole a plate. You know, you just never know. You pick up a pillow that JFK cheated with his wife on or something. Like, you do something like that, you take it home. They say, no, that's a national treasure. It needs to come back. Like, I can see something like that happening, but that's not what this is. I mean, I think, I don't know. I don't always love Mark Levin, but I think
Michelle
Mark
Obama's diaphragm. I think he probably jacked that.
No, you're absolutely right. I haven't watched all of Mark Levin's takes on this, but he's been pretty based on this.
Oh, he's been real upset because he thinks that what's happened is the following. And I'm not. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, guys. Like that is not.
Well, you came to the right place to be one.
Oh, come on. Don't worry, Nate. It's just us here. Don't worry about it. It's just us here. It's just us girls.
The January 6th committee has used up all of their ammunition. They're out of bullets.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And they kind of were like, okay. And they leaned over to the DOJ and they said, hey, DOJ, have we given you enough to prosecute Trump? And they're like, no. Like, you haven't. You have not given us what we would need to arrest the guy. And so they said, well, hey, what can we do about this? They said, well, we got to come up with a crime. They're like, well, what do we got? What do we got? Do we have a crime? Let's try to figure something out. Remember when everybody was upset about North Korea and Trump was going to launch us into World War III because of North Korea? Maybe he kept a napkin that had Kim Jong-un's signature on it, and that's classified. We can't have Kim Jong-un's signature floating around America.
Secret.
Yeah, there was a little doodle. They played a game of tic-tac-toe on that. That's obviously classified.
I love this. They played.
And Trump totally lost that tic-tac-toe game. We know.
That's why he took it.
Orange man bad.
He took it because he didn't want people to see his failure.
So the January 6th people are like, okay, maybe that. So they go to the DOJ, like, DOJ, what if he has a napkin from the negotiations with North Korea and he's not supposed to? And the DOJ looks at them and says, are you freaking kidding me? No, that's not a crime. They said, well, is that enough for you to get inside of his house? And what if we find a dead body? Like, what if we just luck out and Trump's got a bunch of bodies under his bed? Let's just go fishing. And you know, again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but like Mark Levin's point is not totally wrong. And I think that might be a little bit what's going on. I just wanted to read for the audience and for you fine gentlemen here a little bit. Like, this is there's an actual list. If I can find it, let's see. I apologize.
The list. I got the story pulled up.
Oh, no. Well, while you find that, I just wanted to ask one question and kind of point something out. Merrick Garland. At first, we didn't know whether he signed off on it, and everyone was blaming the judge. But now it turns out Merrick Garland did actually sign off on this particular search of Trump's house, and so to me, it's like, you got the guy that Trump denied a Supreme Court seat okaying a search of his house. You don't think that might be the tiniest bit of conflict of interest and appearance of impartiality?
Phil, are you telling me that Merrick Garland, the head of the DOJ that said he was going to depoliticize the DOJ, would be politicizing it?
It's a small world, Phil.
This Biden administration
bound to bump elbows with somebody once in a while.
This Biden administration is very Orwellian in how they name things and label things. Yeah, but curious, Nate, were you able to find?
I found the thing. So what I'm looking at here is the receipt for property.
Yes.
with the warrant. Okay, they have to list everything. They could be a little clandestine about it, but they got to list everything. So
It's very,
here we go.
split.
Yeah, it's a little big, but we're just going to fly through these. Description of items. Number 1, 4 documents. 2, 29 box labeled A14. 3, 30 box labeled A26. 4, box labeled 31. 5, box labeled A33. Okay, so very important boxes. These boxes are full of contraband, I'm sure. Very incendiary boxes. But this
Bricks
is
of
actually
cocaine.
well, you know, if that were the case, somebody already be in
Lana's
touch.
panty drawer.
Yeah. So, all right. Now, this is where, to me, I actually see what Trump actually holds on to, in my opinion. So you get to this next. Let's see. You're down to box 15. Phil, can you go up one page?
It's chicken.
Yeah,
Chicken. My bad, chicken. Can you go up just one page? There's
it doesn't show that other page.
Daily Mail is not giving it to you. All right, I'll just tell you. So the page before
Rocket.
that, the first thing on here, and this actually goes to show what Trump prioritizes. It says executive grant of clemency, Roger Jason Stone.
Yep.
Now, here's why I mention this. I bet you that's the original. I think, this is just me, guys. I think the stuff that Trump is proud of and meant something to him and he signed, I think he kept the originals.
Right.
And I think that they're saying that's against the law, right? Now, and by the way, that's possible. Maybe they're like, no, you must put this behind glass to be preserved for all of time and eternity. Okay, I get that. But I think that's what's going on here. And so they grab this. Like the next one, info regarding President of France. Like same thing. What if Macron gave him a nice note and was like, hey, man, I know you're getting crushed in the media, but you're doing a pretty good job. And he keeps it.
Yeah.
Right?
Dude, I can't look at Macron the same way after he was like begging fucking Biden for help the other, or what was that, like a month ago? That was so sad.
Yeah. I mean, we could talk about what's going on in the rest of the world. I know, because honest to goodness, this Mar-a-Lago
Let's stick to Trump.
thing-
Let's stick to Trump.
Yeah. But okay, so
I was about to say this affects the rest of the world in one way or another.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. That's true. So leather-bound box of documents. He's got a leather-bound box. So Trump has a leather box. What do you think's in there? Right? Like, again, it's like personal.
Nuclear codes. No.
Right? Yeah, like it's like he actually has a nuclear weapon in one of these boxes.
It's
right?
the
Is
real
that what I'm being
football.
led to believe?
All the QAnon guys always said Trump never gave up the football. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So various classified documents. Okay, very specific. Again,
Okay, let's
classified.
just a second on classified documents. Now, I understand, like, that's a problem, right? If somebody lifts classified documents out of the White House, right?
Trump claims he declassified all of these documents before leaving.
That's the thing, like, and people seem to not understand that a president can just declassify anything they fucking want, right? If it's sitting on their desk. It'd be like, yeah, that was classified. Yeah, unclassified.
Well, most of the shit they classify is nonsense, and there's really no reason to classify it.
What if you work for the DOD and you're the intern and you get an email from your boss and it's like, hey, go pick up Chick-fil-A, and you respond, Roger that. Classified. How dare you, right? Like same thing. What if in one of these boxes is when Clemson came to the White House and Trump kept the Wendy's receipt because it's hilarious, right? And like that's classified. How can you can't keep that? That's a classified document, right?
And who exactly is Trump supposed to answer to in terms of getting a document declassified? Like, I really need to check with Melania. Oh wait, no, that's me. It's me. I'm the president.
Oh no, I can do nothing. I'm powerless around here.
Well, okay, and look, this just goes to, I think this is what they nabbed. Binder of photos.
Wait.
Those are new.
Was it a binder full of women photos?
What were the average ages of the women in the photos?
He's got to beat Romney at this one.
That's right. A handwritten note was seized. The handwritten note.
What?
The nation delivered the handwritten note.
You know, he probably wrote something on a note like the last day he had Twitter on like January 6th. Like he wrote something down on a piece of paper and that was going to be his last tweet before they banned him. And then they banned him before they got the type. So he kept
I gotta remember it.
I gotta remember this moment.
Yeah, he kept that one note because he was like, God damn it, that was going to be my last tweet.
Now, nearly everything else on this list, because it's pretty extensive, it's things like box labeled A1, box labeled A12, miscellaneous secret documents, box labeled A16, miscellaneous
A1 was
top
just a
secret.
case of steak sauce, actually.
That could be. Miscellaneous top
they
secret
fucking got him.
documents.
They got him.
Box labeled A17. You're just like, guys, I know what this is. This is literally crap that is sentimental to Trump.
That's what this is. That's what this is, Nate. They got him.
They got it.
Well, I suspected much the same, that this is a fishing expedition where they're just trying to smear Trump. They're trying to put him through the ringer. And also they're trying everything they can to not let him run in 2024. And I was even listening to some folks on Discord, like over on, it was even in Tiberius's Discord. It was in Death of Certainty's Discord, where they're talking, I don't care if they even have to lie. Just make sure that Trump can't run again. And so that's what the folks on the left want. They just, however, now what's interesting is the right has rallied to Trump hard. And it's not just my little feeling or impression of it, because I did go down to a local watering.
Sass, DeSantis, everybody's on board.
Yeah. Well, that was one thing I was going to point out, is that like even Mike fucking Pence and Ron DeSantis bent the knee on this one. Like, we're with you here on this, Trump, because the polling data, there was a Politico poll that came out after the FBI raid, and it actually showed Trump's support amongst Republican voters of people who were going to absolutely vote for him in the primary in general went up from 54% to 58% amongst Republican GOP voters. So they will absolutely vote for Trump.
That's a pretty big jump. That's like a Biden 1 a.m. jump.
And all of those numbers came out of the DeSantis camp. So he went from 20% to about 16%. And then what was fascinating is 71% of Republican voters say that Trump must run in 2024. And so to me, it's like, if he decides to run, it's a layup. Like he will win the Republican nomination, no problem. Now, the general is an entirely different ball of wax, but it's so they're like, to me, I think it's not a coincidence at all that the January 6th committee in essence cleared Trump of any wrongdoing, because they had every motivation to bring charges against him and were completely unable to do so. And so that effectively clears him of wrongdoing. And then also his primary picks do astoundingly well in swing states like Arizona. And then I think if his primary picks wouldn't have done so well, I don't think they would have done this desperation move, because they saw, oh, fuck, the Republicans are behind him hard and we got to stop him.
Well,
do you think he gets arrested?
I think at this point, I think
everything's
they want to.
On the table.
I think they really want to, but I think they also realize that, like, you know, like I was telling the guys, and you got to
think about what they're going to arrest him for if they were going to, and what they're talking about is the Espionage Act, which goes back to my favorite president, fucking Woodrow Wilson, and his fucking dipshit ass putting in the Espionage Act. But that's what they want to use this for. So Espionage Act is. So back then it was like anti-war speech type shit they were trying to crack down on. So if you had certain documents or anything relating to what exactly did they fucking want to call out? Obtaining information, recording pictures, or copying descriptions of information relating to national defense. So they want to charge Trump with the Espionage Act, which I'm not sure the last political figure that actually got charged with this. I would have to go back and listen to Judge Napolitano's fucking speeches about the Espionage Act, because I know he's got a whole bunch of like how they fucked people over with this. But Trump would be the first president, I think, ever, I could be wrong, that if they did try to arrest him or press charges on him, the Espionage Act is the only thing they could use. And this is a bill from 1918 that was an anti-war, anti-fucking America messaging. It was like a patriotic bill to keep people from like being anti-government during war. Like,
yeah. So like, and here's the bigger question, because you know this is gonna, like, if they, like, Nate, if they do try to arrest Trump, they're going to eventually say, well, we can't tell you why, because those documents are classified.
Oh, that
and
goes
the
also,
Republicans are not going to accept that.
It goes
People
also
will die.
with the Sedition
People
Act,
will die
by the
if
way.
this happens.
I've been talking about a cold civil war for a long time, but I went down to the watering hole on I think it was Monday, Tuesday night, right when this shit happened. Then I went home and just became fucking ill as shit. But I was listening, like, Not just like, your average like dudes my age, a little younger, that, young, dumb, full of cum, full of piss and vinegar and ready to
drink
go.
Out of the bar glasses.
That's probably what happened. Yeah. But I was listening to like legitimate businessmen, like people who like actually have an investment in this society. And they're saying shit like, yep, guess we're all just going through the motions until the shooting starts. And I'm like, whoa, okay then. So that's where we're at. So that the Republican right is now more united and pissed the fuck off than they've been in a very long time. And they have made Trump, to the right, a more sympathetic character than ever.
I don't know why they've been trying to do the right's job for them of putting Trump on a pedestal, because you would think that would fall in the RNC, but no. The Democrats are just committed to putting Donald
RNC
Trump.
Hasn't done shit in 2 years. They haven't had.
They don't have to.
Democrats
because
just
the DNC is
bury
doing
themselves.
all the work for them. They are making Trump into a messiah for them. It's completely counterintuitive. Like if they really think, the Democrats really think that they're doing a good job here, all they're doing is furthering the idea to the people that have already committed to their shtick that Trump is the devil. Like you can't get, okay, now he's the super devil. No, you already thought he was the devil.
He's the triple devil.
Further than that. Like I already thought he was the devil, but
you want to know
how he's the super devil? That changes nothing. What you're doing is you're giving him more sympathy. It makes no sense. You're taking all those fence riders. You're taking all the maybes. You're taking all the people who didn't vote for him in 2020, and you're bringing them back. This is completely counterproductive.
Here's the measurement of Democratic thought process right now. Watch what Hillary Clinton does after things like this happen. What did she do? She started hat saying, but her emails. Like, dude.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, you're gonna brag about getting away with the email shit?
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Oh,
like,
I'm fine with it. You know what? This is fair game because if this can happen, if Trump can be rated, fine.
Tony Chicken, Tony, hang on, Tony Chicken. There's something you got.
Now we need to have it be fair.
Tony, there's something you're forgetting here, though. Chicken, there's something you're forgetting here, though. And Nate, you'll be able to. You might get a kick out of this. In Washington, D.C., there's an old phrase: Democrats don't prosecute Democrats.
True.
Like, it's only the Republicans that ever get prosecuted. Democrats will never. They will always cover for each other, no matter their wrongdoing. Fuck, they even covered for Anthony fucking Weiner for a goddamn while, okay? They'll cover for actual pedophiles if it's politically advantageous to them.
That's not just because his name was Weiner.
The fact that everybody...
Just because he kept showing his wiener to minors.
The fact that Hillary can fundraise off of something that she did that was highly controversial and super fucking illegal, and fucking FBI investigated her for and decided not to push it. Like, I think they could have. Maybe I'm wrong, Nate. Maybe you can give me insight on that if you have it.
Of course they could have. Yeah.
But they didn't, and they chose not to. And then even Trump said, no, I'm not going to push the lock her up thing. He backs off. And then she throws that back into his face on something as fucking
because she fucking can.
Well, as trumped up as this whole goddamn
sold out of the hats in like 10 minutes.
Yes.
She's making money off of this. I love it. Oh, America.
But the problem that fucking corporate fucking press doesn't understand is people see this and go, what the fuck was that? And like, Hillary swimming in her cash of these stupid fucking silly hats and going, she has no pulse on what actual Americans are fucking thinking. The ones that are on social media bitching about stuff, they're not talking. The ones that are fucking bitching at her aren't talking. That's 10% of each side. The fucking 80% in the middle that read this and go, are you fucking kidding me?
She hasn't talked to those people in 40 years. Are you kidding me?
Exactly. That's why she lost.
Well, it's fascinating because like everybody always called Trump the norm killer and all that, which really, like I always say, if you look at his accomplishments, he was a remove his rhetoric and just look at his accomplishments. He was a fairly moderate Republican president at best. Okay. Like fucking Mitt Romney would have signed that fucking tax bill. Okay. John Kasich would have fucking nominated all three of those fucking people to the Supreme Court if he was president. Okay. The most milquetoast presidents would have, Republicans would have done a lot of the same things. So to me, it's like the idea that he's some uniquely bad person. But when we're talking about norms that are being destroyed, investigating the former president of the United States when you're the new president has always been like, even Gerald Ford is like, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and pardon Nixon because
Yeah, we all know.
Because and so unfortunately, Biden is like, since you've started us down this path, and also, spoiler alert, we're going to find out that Biden knew about this the whole time. I'm just giving a spoiler alert.
He might have forgot. He might have forgot.
Well, they were just telling it.
They were just during nap time.
They were denying that Garland knew anything that day, and now we find out Garland knew. So we're eventually going to find out that Biden knew. That's a spoiler
not only
alert.
did Garland know, but Garland, it was
off on it.
He signed off on it, and then the judge took 3 days, and the judge didn't think it was pressing enough, and so he gave him 14 days because he didn't think it was that big of a deal.
Right.
And then they acted on it within 72 hours.
You don't want to ruin somebody's weekend. Remember, Joe Paterno didn't turn in that stuff about Sandusky because it was a long holiday weekend coming up.
Yeah.
Well,
and Joe Pat's dead, so
I wanted
he's still
to just
a
go
good
through
guy.
a quick timeline of how this stuff turns out, because it looks like Trump did return some documents
in June.
Yeah. Well,
and
actually,
July,
and even in January. Like what I was reading
several times. Yeah,
it's several times. So like and it is. I think it's because of this problem where Trump was like, literally, my people typed and I signed these documents. Why do I need to give them back? This doesn't make any sense.
And then they were like, the ones that you do have, put an extra lock on the door and we're good. And so he did.
Right. Well, that was.
And then they broke the fucking door down and broke the lock. It was like,
they wanted to know which specific lock, so they knew just how much force to apply to the door to bust it down.
I guess I'm wondering, because this is the first time I'm really truly hearing this being an issue, and maybe it's because Trump wasn't a career politician, but has it ever been a big issue that somebody leaving the White House was like, okay, this was something I created physically with paper and pen.
Right.
I'm going to take this with me. Has it ever been an issue?
The Clintons ransacked the White House when they left. They fucking stole all kinds of shit.
I thought there was like nothing left. They made that an open house.
Phil, what was it that Trump posted today with his
from the desk of the 45th president of the United States? He was saying basically,
33,000 documents.
Obama has 33,000 documents. Some say many of it nuclear, and so like it's one of those. It's like, I got to give you credit, Donald. That's persuasive deflection, because the right wing is all immediately like, huh, Obama, because like there's just a little note in right wingers' brains that when you mention Clinton or Obama, just they like go Yosemite Sam.
That's the Russian
I hate that
fucking awaken word for Republicans is Obama kill.
Jesus Christ.
Pavlov, just like Pavlov's dogs.
Yeah.
Well, I thought I'd mention. So just what's supposed to happen then is the magistrate judge. So federal court has a 2-tier judge system at the trial level. So you got magistrate judge. I was just in front of a magistrate judge a week ago. It's very terrifying when you're in front of these people. They sit on these huge thrones. Actually, my law partner and I were talking about this today, about how federal court is designed to intimidate the populace. Like that's like they actually designed the courtrooms this way. Yeah. So when you walk in, it seems like they're super far away. It's all this dark wood. There's no natural light in the rooms. The judges sit way above you. Like it's this whole thing. But the magistrate judges are supposed to receive an affidavit as well as a request inside of the warrant. And it's supposed to outline 2 things: a suspected crime and the location of evidence of a suspected crime. Okay, so that's sort of a 2-pronged test for a search warrant. Sure. One, that there's at least a 10% chance that a crime was committed, and 2, that there's at least a 10% chance that we can find evidence of such crimes at a particular location, right? So there's an affidavit that is supposed to be attached. What does that affidavit contain? A bunch of hearsay. I mean, that's really what it is. It's an officer working for the FBI is supposed to compile a 2 to 10 page review of here's why we think that there might have been a crime, and here's why we think that this location is a place where evidence of those crimes are located. To Chicken's point, the magistrate judge takes a look at this and is like, well, hold on a minute. can't you just like figure this out? Because there's not an ongoing there's not an ongoing criminal case. There's an investigation, sure, but as far as I can tell, the DOJ is probably investigating me right now. Like, I have no way of knowing if the investigation's even happening, right? But he's like, look, you've been in touch with the Trump people as part of your investigation and worked with his attorneys. Just go talk to the guy, right? And the answer came back was like, no. We think that this is like important. We got to go now. Probably because he's not at home and probably because his attorneys are on vacation, right? And so the judge, for whatever reason, decides, yeah, I'll go ahead and sign off on this. And so to my way of thinking, you go, all right, if they're going in on a fishing expedition, now we're in a situation where unless they actually come up with actual evidence and actually bring charges, we're going to know this was a sham. And it's going to be a real problem for the DOJ for the next 2.5 years. So if they don't arrest Trump, I think that means hook, line, and sinker. This was a fishing expedition, and it's a total farce.
It'd be a huge problem for DOJ.
I shouldn't go salmon fishing when the grizzly bear's swatting them out of the water. I should wait till the grizzly bear leaves.
Well, this is I mean, it's so problematic for the DOJ, and so our congressman
and the
in
FBI.
Nebraska, yes, exactly right. So I mean, the DOJ runs the FBI, the marshals, as well as the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Yep.
So these are all DOJ headaches. But in Phil's part of the country, in part of Nebraska, I don't know what your congressman, who's just been recently elected into a special place for a little while, right? Are you in Flood's district? I don't even know. You probably are.
I'm in the 3rd district, so.
Oh, okay. No, you're not. So, but in the first district,
Adrian Smith, the safest fucking seat in
America.
Yeah.
Also, you happen to live, I believe, Phil, that in 2016, you lived in the most Trump district in America. I think District 3 in Nebraska voted for Trump at an 87.5% of the votes cast were cast for the Donald. And
nice.
I think it was like 8% for Hillary and then like the Libertarian candidate, right? So
there's only 8% of this district that I need to be ashamed of. All right, that's
but
I'm surprised it was that high.
Yeah, well, seriously,
that's almost
really
1 in
wild.
10 people. I get that adds up. I guess.
Tony, you remember how much of a Democrat our English teacher in high school was? So there's that. Like, but now there's something I wanted to point out because I just want to get this out of the way now before you can be banned on social media in about 6 weeks for even implying this. But the FISA, like the FBI, has actually been caught lying to the FISA court to be able to surveil Trump. They were actually caught. We got one guy that actually had a guilty plea in court. He has yet to be sentenced, but he actually pled guilty in court to lying to the FISA court. So we've already got the FBI knowingly lying in regards to Trump. What would stop them from, like you said, this is top secret documents of a fucking napkin that Trump wiped his mouth with, and he happened to, and Kim Jong-un also like blew his nose with another napkin or something like that. Like what's to stop them from just straight up lying? Because what I have found in this life, Nate, and you've got some experience in courts and such. I found people will lie if it suits them.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've noticed people tend to do that a lot, and so
remember the Steele dossier got passed off in a FISA court, and it was completely fabricated, which led to the entire Russiagate silliness. And I just saw on chat sort of float through: is this revenge for Epstein stuff? I actually think that it's revenge. Again, I don't mean to be Captain Conspiracy either.
I'm loving.
You can indulge in this show.
Okay, so here's my recollection of events. You all can tell me if I'm wrong, but Trump, I think it was when he was president-elect, but before he took office, he came out and he said that the intelligence community in the United States, he more or less identified them as the original deep state. And he said, these are people they know I'm coming. They know I'm not going to do things their way. And they've had all these politicians in their pockets for so long. We can't trust these guys. And I don't know if you all remember, but there was a moment where now Majority Leader Chuck Schumer went on the news and he goes, oh, Trump crossed swords with the intelligence community. You don't do that. They'll come get you. And they were like,
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And the reporters were like, wait, Chuck, what are you talking about? He just goes, I'm not going to talk about it, but they will come get you. And like to my way of thinking,
Oh man,
if
what did
there's a
they
payback
intimidate
moment-
Chuck with back in the years?
well, I mean, and you know, it also tells you where the Democrats are.
Lolita
right?
Express tickets.
But I think if you wanted to say, hey, Nate, what's this payback for? I would say, let's draw a line way back to there. And this might just be another domino inside of this little true deep state plot to try to put Trump over the coals. And so that's why I'm interested. I think he's going to see handcuffs. I'm not saying it's justified. I'm not saying that it's going to make sense. I don't even think it'll stick. But I think they want him to see the inside of a jail and be in a jumpsuit for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they're ready for
absolutely.
Oh my God. Because like now this is like, guys, I remember I echoed a sentiment that Scott Adams said back in 2016. And this is one of those things that, boy, I do not like the fact that this was so prophetic, but here we are. Scott Adams said in 2016, if Joe Biden is elected, Republicans will be hunted.
And it's happening.
And we are now seeing Donald fucking Trump himself being hunted.
They've been hunting him since he was in office. This is the fourth impeachment. The FBI raid is the fourth impeachment. And they're going to keep doing these makeshift impeachments until they get one. Like Nate said, they can get him in cuffs, because once they get him in cuffs, for whatever reason, they think that image, that video, is going to be the game changer that tears him away. It's not going to stick. It's not going to land. And he's still going to somehow find a way to be the nominee. And that will be the image that is the Messiah complex that turns everybody onto him. It's going to be counterproductive. Again, this is completely and utterly... they should not be doing this at all.
Quit heaping sympathy on him. Have you like the Democrats have clearly never seen a Hulk Hogan.
Exactly.
All that aside, back to the Epstein thought. Like, so there was a lot of talk with the judge being a former. He was a prosecutor and then flipped sides to protect Epstein's lieutenants, as they were. So that whole thing was a little shady when it comes out, no matter what you think. Like, that's definitely all conspiracy. Goddamn, who knows what the fuck the real goddamn thought process was there. But like, you have that like lingering over this whole thing. Like, this thing just screams reality TV, and you know who wins reality TV?
Oh yes,
Donald fucking Trump.
By the way, what is the Republican messaging from now until November 25th, 2024? It's Trump first, then it's you. Right? That's it. That's the entire message.
That's all you got to say.
They don't want Trump. They want you. He's just standing in between.
That's exactly right. If there was any message, and you say, and then you just start making the list, they're coming for your guns.
You don't even need Trump running. You just have to use that message. You're right.
Over and over. If you're a Republican, your message is so clear. Every institution in Washington is designed to take your property, your rights, your faith, and your family. That's what it's for.
And
they're
guns.
Take,
they took our jobs. They took our guns. And took my
they're
family.
making it so they're making it so he doesn't even have to like leave his house to campaign.
Oh my God! Could you
he
imagine
can campaign from prison? I'm excited.
Exactly.
Could you imagine 2024 Trump instead of Biden in the basement? It's Trump in jail, like, and he wins without ever doing a rally.
Oh my God, can he wear an orange tie?
Now, like, what's fascinating is, Nate, Trump's best defense would be a variant of one of the first real kangaroo court trials of where the defendant tried to use this defense. It was a good, convincing defense. It was, if you got to go all the way back to the 1600s in England, and it was the trial. It was the trial of King Charles I, and he was saying, well, if I can be taken by force and they can accost me and take my crown from me, then how can anyone in the Kingdom of England even say that their rights are secure? And it's a very convincing argument, and it almost won King Charles the day, but he was in front of a kangaroo court, and so that was the only reason he didn't win that day.
Well, and then let's take this through the layers, right? Because from a narrative perspective, you start with what I think is the most obvious, that there is a concerted effort to take away the right to bear arms. There's a concerted effort to separate parents from their children and their education inside of public public schools.
Absolutely.
Right? Absolutely. Third, we know that the Democrats are going to start talking about revoking tax-exempt statuses for houses of worship. Like, we know that's coming.
Sure.
We all know that's coming, right? And then now you just say, and by the way, if you dissent, you will also be part of the Espionage Act, and the DOJ will open an investigation. You'll never know about it. And they will come to your home and they'll just thought police you. And like, if that's your message on the campaign trail, what's a Democrat's response? No, Trump deserved it. No, we know better than you people.
Yeah.
We know better.
It seems to be working for him, Nate. Though.
It worked out great. It worked out great for Hillary Clinton in 2016. I know better than you silly plebs. Now, what Trump's really got going
work that fucking well in 2020, and it still worked. That's
what we got going for us this time is that the major swing states have defortified their elections significantly, so they're not going to be able to game the mail-in voting system to make up for the enthusiasm gap like they did in 2020.
You said earlier something that Trump's basically like a slam dunk to win the nomination, right? You said that.
Oh yeah. If he runs,
weird.
yes.
It's weird, Phil. As soon as you said that, I got a notification on my phone about this weird app called General Election Voting. Download now, get free extra 10 votes if you download early. I don't. It's weird. I don't know what it's for, but I don't know. Is there a coincidence?
So you download that app and you're a Democrat. It's 10 extra votes in Pennsylvania. Waka waka. I kid, folks, because I have to keep podcasting. But yes. But yes, this is like Nate, Tony, we have crossed the Rubicon. I don't know what other way to put it. Like, we are now in a new era of America where if you thought we were divided before, like I always talk to my dad and he's like, yeah, shit's bad now. But honestly, it was worse in the 60s. Okay. Like, we were a lot more divided in the 60s than we are now. And then after this, he's like, oh no, this shit's bad. This is worse than it's ever been. Oh no, like this is. And so like when I was like,
that's bad.
This is bad.
That's pretty fucking bad.
Yeah, like, so I wish I knew where it went from here.
Well, so this is a good segue. I just wanted to mention, so something else happened today, which of course is going to get buried. But there's a fellow by the name of Salman Rushdie. Have either of you ever heard of this guy?
Oh, fuck yeah. He was the guy who wrote the book, The Synagogue of Satan, and there's basically been a fatwa against him from the Ayatollah for like 30, 40 years now.
Yeah, and he got stabbed today, and he's in critical care on a ventilator.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
An American from New Jersey, whose name you would not be surprised does not sound like it comes from an Anglo-Saxon heritage.
Would it happen to be an Arabic name?
Right, and it is. Well, I would just say it might be Persian, right? So we got to be really clear because he is. His Facebook page is covered with Iranian nationalistic propaganda, and he did multiple stabbings to Mr. Rushdie today, and it looks like. Have they found him? It sounds like somebody in chat says that they might have found this guy. I just want to highlight that there are a number of things that have been festering for a real long time. And as things sort of break apart inside the United States, a lot of these it's like the cracks in the maw to hell. As the cracks start to open, little demons start popping up before the main event. You know what I mean? And I think
these are side quests.
Yeah,
you're still supposed to go slay the Grand Wizard, but like there's this dragon over here real quick. Yeah, and you need that sword.
Skyrim side quest.
Yeah, this is. And so Salman Rushdie, it is just heartbreaking to me that we're getting into a situation now where just normal security of humans is coming into question inside the United States. And it's just tough. It's just, I think we're going to see more nastiness coming. Another interesting thing happened today where Q2 economic info for Germany came out. They had their first negative trade balance since the wall fell in Berlin. Okay. So,
wow.
Which means Germany had to import more than they exported. And that's the first time that's happened literally since the wall came down. So there is stuff going on out there. And like, as Americans, we need to stay focused on the stuff that matters the most. But I really do believe that as our institutions continue to deteriorate and act badly, and are on their last legs, these little other demons popping out of the cracks from the Maw of Hell are going to start to rear their ugly heads. And Ukraine is, I think, is just the beginning on that. But you know, it's just a tough time. I mean, think about it. To your point, Phil, and to your dad's point, it's like, oh, we've had it worse. Like, I remember when there were hostages in Tehran and like whatever. It's like, I remember when Salman Rushdie came out with his books and he was safe. And I remember
to be fair, though,
he's not anymore.
To be fair, it's almost impossible to gauge how bad things are amongst the society versus how they were 10, 20, 30, 40 years prior, because we've never had this level of communicatability. Like, we're not this on pulse with the rest of the country, the state, the world. Like, we know everything about everybody, and we don't need to. Like, I can get on anybody's TikTok and find out what the fuck they ate for lunch today. That's information that's completely unnecessary, but I can find that. So, and then there's the embellished portions of it, the completely fabricated portions of it. So, and we've never been able to fabricate life as we know it this efficiently. So it's kind of hard to gauge, like, versus the 60s. Sure, like, we knew things were bad because, well, that's based off of what people were seeing and what at the time we trusted the news was telling us. Now in 2022, what we're seeing doesn't make a lot of fucking sense, and nobody believes the news. So really, it's kind of hard to put it up as a fair fight.
Like, unfortunately, I gotta touch on something you were talking about Salman Rushdie. I was actually on a panel on somebody online, and we were talking about religion, and it was mostly about Christianity. But then, and the after show, a Muslim gentleman came on, and he was very combative. He started talking mad shit on Christianity, Mormonism, you name it. Just all of it was nothing compared to Islam. And then it's like, in the Quran, it states that the earth is at the center of the solar system and that the heart is actually where the brain is. So maybe don't cast stones and glass houses and such. And then I started bringing up Salman Rushdie in the after show, and then he rage quit. And I was like, oh shit, I need to look over my shoulders when I go over to big cities now, don't I?
Rushdie, the comment I made, he was kind of in hiding because he knew people were out to kill him. And
the Ayatollah had a fatwa against him for 40 fucking years.
And they found him. Like, they don't stop. They're like that's the scariest part of the world we live in today. Like, this guy didn't go into secret fucking change his name and go hide in the middle of nowhere in Nebraska. Like he hid.
Probably would have been a good plan.
Probably would have been.
Yeah.
But,
come to the 3rd district. You'd have been safe.
No, nobody come here for anything. Stay away.
So, like, how long ago was that? And they still got him.
89 is when the fatwa, that's when it was declared.
Jesus.
Like, Jesus Christ. They've been fucking wanting to kill this guy this whole time. And they finally got him. Like,
by a kid who was born,
he was 24 or something.
Yeah, he's born 6 or 7 years after the fatwa was declared.
Yeah,
he wasn't even around.
It's fucking crazy. The world's crazy. I still say, and Nate, I'm curious your thoughts on this. I still say, since 2012, the end of the Mayan calendar, shit every year has progressively gotten worse and crazier.
Oh my God.
And the simulation is just screaming at us right now that this is a video game, guys. They're using cheat codes now. Do you not see it?
Look, if we accept that it's a fucking simulation, somebody's gonna hit reset. Stop it.
I was about to say, it's like,
no, it's too fun right now.
I was about to say, this timeline really does deliver. Okay, I gotta say, this
does.
Like, if we're in the new 52 or the multiverse and Marvel, I really like this particular version of the multiverse. I gotta say,
I don't know if I like it, but it's probably better than others.
Oh yeah, God, could you imagine how boring this world would be if it was the one where Gore won? God.
Or if Mitt Romney had won. What if we just made off of term 2 of Mitt?
Man.
We would have Romney care instead of Obamacare. Yeah.
Like, Al Gore's version of the
just
internet
as
would
much.
have been mostly just like Britannicas on CD-ROM, and we'd all be driving like bicycles.
Anyway, can we wrap up the Trump talk and jump over to Biden's 0% inflation?
All righty.
We did it!
Nate, as the expert, the star witness expert here, I do just got to say, I'm going to give you the beginning of the last words on this because you are the most experienced in the court setting, sir.
Sure. So I'll just say this: the fact that there was a warrant only means that there was a 10% chance that a crime was actually committed. And it does seem, from what was returned back, that this was mostly a fishing expedition. I don't anticipate the DOJ to actually want to file charges, but I do anticipate that somebody wants Trump to don some new jewelry of the silver with the orange jumpsuit, at least for a day. So I think that to save face, that they might have to force the issue, but I don't think they found anything that's actually going to stick. That's just my 2 cents on that.
I will just say in response to that, in my closing statement, well, Republicans, you've got a very clear choice coming up in not only the midterms, but in the primary and the general. But I don't think the DOJ wants to bring charges, but I'm of the opinion that Merrick Garland very, very much does. I mean, if you watched his speech, could you ever have somebody look more guilty of like, yes, this is what I did, and I'm just we found evidence of crime. I'm not going to tell you what that is, or I'm going to give you any detail about it, and I'm going to be very terse, and I'm going to be very tight-lipped about it, and then I'm going to turn off and not take a single question. So Merrick Garland's got an axe to grind. I was always under the impression that an attorney general is supposed to avoid conflicts of interests and even the appearance of impartiality, and yet this guy just doesn't seem to give a fuck about any of that at all. And I will say, as my last word on this, thank the Lord Christ Almighty, Merrick Garland will never touch the Supreme Court, and he goes away in 2 years.
Absolutely. I guess to retort to both of you, the Merrick Garland thing, in kind of what Nate was saying, I don't think they're going to stop until they see Trump in cuffs. Whether they get there or not, we'll find out. But that's the mission. Imagine heading in, say it's 2023, Trump officially announces, and then they wait and they get as much as they can just to put him in cuffs and put him in overnight. The imagery of a presidential candidate in an orange jumpsuit and handcuffs being hauled into jail is political fucking it's over. It's done. So I think that's what we're going to see from Democrats trying to push. And Merrick Garland's going to be the kind of head of that snake. He's going to be pushing that. But what a fucking fun timeline to live in, folks. This is the greatest time in history. This is fantastic. It's so fun to talk about. Thanks for joining. Tony, what are your final thoughts on this, sir?
I think it's the imagery of Trump in an orange jumpsuit or cuffs or both, God willing, as fun as this will be, is going to have, again, the reverse effect that the Democrats think. It's going to be less Charles Manson and more Jesus Christ to the wrong fucking people if you're a Democrat. Like, again, this is just utter sympathy at this point, because we know, everybody at this point knows the news lies and the government's corrupt. You're not winning anybody over with this who was kind of on the fence about that. In fact, you're driving them the other direction. It's the meme. How did the middle become the right? This is how. So at this point, they don't have an actual idea of how to win elections. All they have are ideas on how to prevent the other guy from winning the election. And that's why the two-party system is a fucking sham. It's a joke. It's broken, because we're not actually trying to win. We're just trying to crush the other guy and prevent them from winning. So this is going to be another not fun election. It's going to be another lose-lose, just less losing if you vote one way or the other. So yay.
Or more losing.
Yeah, it's funny. The Democratic Party that claims to love democracy is trying to stop somebody from running in a democratic election. Funny that. Apparently, they don't love democracy as much as they claim.
Yeah.
So Steven dropped in 500 stars. Bro, I do not own gin.
I do. Does he want me to do it?
I don't know. I did find my LTD Canadian whiskey.
Oh, LTD is awful. It's terrible. Make chicken do a shot of that.
Oh, go LTD.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible.
Either make chicken do.
It's the worst thing we've ever tried.
I tell you what, Steven, I'll do a half a shot of gin, and he can do a half a shot of LTD.
Oh my God.
But now, while they get that ready,
anyway, Tony, we got to catch up on comments too. I think we're a little.
No, I think we're pretty much good. Lynn said, we fell asleep in 2012, woke up in the Matrix.
Retard Matrix.
Gas is,
you can say it, buddy.
Didn't have to.
We're not
it
canceled
was
yet.
right there on the screen. We're going to be. Gas is down fastest in 10 years. Still $1 more. Lols. And it's cold gin time again. LTD for he is
nice.
I'm surprised nobody's hating on me tonight.
Oh no,
I'll get there, sir.
But no, like actually last night, Nate, you were on the Mask Off podcast with Tiberius and Joe Biden's very own Baghdad Bob Cipher.
Hang on.
Just like everything is fine, nothing is wrong. Oh no, here we go.
Oh God, damn it! Oh fuck,
it's
gross.
Is it better than you remember?
No, it's worse. Jesus. Oh my God. Oh,
that was worth it. That was
no,
worth it.
no, that was terrible.
But yeah, so
love you, Steven, you dick.
So inflation is always one of the issues of our day. Now, I think some of the smart money I've been listening to is saying we still have some more inflation to go, but the worst is behind us. Which I could see that because we have some prices going down a bit, but it's not going to take but one catalyzing event to put us back.
To wash it down with some Buffalo Trace.
Nice to put us in a potentially worse position here. So, like, I do got to commend the Biden's own little Baghdad Bobs that he's got out there that are just claiming everything is right. Everything, like, basically it's like Leslie Nielsen from Airplane. Nothing to see here, folks. Please disperse. All is well. Nothing is wrong. Now, I get it, why they have to. Because the midterms are coming up. And so they got to paint as shiny of a picture of the U.S. economy as possible. But, Chicken, Tony, I believe there is a story you were going to pull up about exactly that.
This is fantastic.
I feel like we said this.
No, hold on. Let me read this because this is the most gaslighting, triggering fucking article I have ever seen.
Oh, good.
About inflation. This is so good. I like try not to laugh reading this. So, okay. Republicans are outraged at Joe Biden for accurately describing the economy. Says Jordan Weisman 2 days ago.
Jesus.
Hold on. It gets better. Along with critical race theory, in quote, wokeness, the deep state, and other recent conservative obsessions, it appears we can now add the basic language of economics to the list of things Republicans have decided to go to war on. Take the latest round of inflation statistics. On Wednesday morning, the U.S. got its first bit of truly good news about rising cost of living this year. The Consumer Price Index, which has been surging in recent months, remained essentially flat in July. That is largely thanks to tumbling gas prices, which canceled out rising costs elsewhere. Technically, and this is in parentheses, technically the index actually declined a tiny amount, but the change rounded to zero. They're really pushing and really trying to make this sound good. Core inflation, which excludes volatile food, energy prices, and is watched closely by economics.
Just all the stuff that matters.
Yeah. And the markets rose at 3.8% annually in its lowest reading since September 2021. Do you guys want to watch the video?
No.
It's so good though. Come on. This is
Tony's ready. Tony's donning the headgear.
We don't need any video. It's like, all right, Jack. Guys, we need to be very, very. We need to feel very privileged. We're here, joined by Dark Pedo Pete. How are we doing there?
Hey there, America. I just thought I'd drop in. It sounds like my ears was burning. I heard you talking about the amazing job I've been doing with the economy, even though those dirtbag Republicans are trying to twist my words like hairy legs in the pool and talk about how I didn't do a great job. I've been doing a great job, and you're going to see it real soon, folks. Look, I told you last summer about the hot dog costs I've been cutting, and you're going to see that full force here no time soon. I tell you what, look, inflation, I made that shit my bitch, all right? You're going to see it. You're going to see it real soon.
You sniffed that inflation's hair.
Hey, it smelled like strawberries.
Oh, no.
All right, Mr. President, I explain 0% inflation this last month. What did you mean by that?
So look, like, have you ever like played Mortal Kombat? Like, what KOE? Don't laugh. Look. Anyway, look. So like when you start a fight, round one, you've got like a full health bar, right? That's 100%, right? When you go down to 0%, the fight's over, right? You lose the fight. So like that's what I'm talking about. Like we're at 0%. The fight's over. We won. We're going to the golf score again.
That means you're dead. That means you die in Mortal Kombat.
We're going to the golf score. It's 0%. We win the round. Look, and it's 2 rounds. So look, this isn't over. We got the midterms coming up. That's going to be round 2, folks. So just don't remember what Uncle Joe did for you in the summer of 2022, heading into the midterms, because 0% is it's 0, and 0 sounds good. So I'm gonna have my press secretary. She does such an amazing job. She's gonna go out there and say 0%, and that we're not adding to the border wall, and we're not doing that stuff. And anytime she's questioning anything, she's gonna dance around it like a fucking idiot and pretend that she wasn't just asked the question.
Joe, last week you said you were going to actually continue building the border wall.
Look, no. What I said was we're going to clean up the mess that the previous administration started. Look, what those details of cleanliness are, I'm not really at liberty to say, or, my hands are tied. I'm going to do what I can. It's not my fault. I'm cleaning up that guy's mess.
So you're still building the wall.
Again, it's his mess. I'm just cleaning it up. Like, you ever have a kid that like dumps the Legos out on the floor and you tell them to pick it up and they don't, but then you got to pick it up anyway? Like, that's all this is.
No, I mean, you've got a kid that dumps crack on the floor and then,
Hey, no, he does not. He fucking smokes it if he dumps it. Don't you ever accuse Hunter of wasting crack, Phil. How dare you?
That was my bad. Now, Nate, I do gotta say, this is a unique opportunity for you. You now have a chance to ask the current occupant of Pennsylvania Avenue, Joe Biden, any question that might come to your mind, and I'm sure he'll give you like just a brilliant answer.
I don't know if I'm ready for the responsibility of asking a question to the president. My only thought was, Mr. President, how has inflation affected the sex trade for your son Hunter? Has he been able to afford all of his ladies of the night? Because I've been worried that if he hasn't been able to satisfy those urges, that we might see him in an orange jumpsuit with a new cellmate, Donald Trump. So I just wanted to know your thoughts on that.
Well, look, to be frank, like it has affected him a little bit. Now, as you've known through text messages being revealed on that laptop that turned out to be real, he's not a fan of people of other ethnicities. And we know the American inflation is a real thing. So he's had to open his horizons a little bit and go with some different orientations than he's used to having. So, we're all feeling it here at Camp Biden.
So you mean he's knocking up prostitutes and strippers of all ethnicities now?
He calls them the yellows. His words, not mine.
Okay. Now, just curious, has this inflation affected all the child support he's having to pump out for all these stripper kids?
Daycare's not cheap. But we got a place down in Florida. It's called Mar-a-Lago. We're hoping to open up a pretty nice, large-size daycare system for them. It's gonna be real nice.
Oh, good Lord Almighty!
Joe, I got one last question for you.
Okay, shoot.
Define inflation.
Okay, so like when you're at a birthday party,
not inflating a blow-up doll, like government financial inflation.
Next, I'd love to hear.
Wait, hang on. You talking about the vote, right? Because I'm not following. I'm sorry.
Oh my God! So,
Mr. President, you just earned my vote. I just want you to know right now.
this is how we're doing it. We're building back better, one vote at a time.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I've been convinced. I'm switching parties.
Joe
Ladies and gentlemen,
Biden, let's go Brandon right there.
The current occupant of Pennsylvania Avenue, and that's about all I'll give him.
Hey, Joe, we're over here.
Now, I got a question for. Yeah, he's. Oh, good Lord. No.
All right, we'll see you in a minute, Joe.
Jill's got to come get him. He's got to give him it.
Get your jacket.
Jill's got to come pump you full of Adderall so you can make a speech. Okay, but all right, Nate. That was lovely. I got to ask, do you think that in the next quarter, GDP growth is going to be positive, or is it going to continue to go down? That is a big question. Is this recession going to extend until the end of the year? Is basically because
it's a hard question. So I'll tell you, I never bet against America in the summer. Right. The number of times we've had negative GDP growth in July, August, and September it's so rare. I mean, even during the Great Depression, things always turn around. July in America is literally magic. I mean, it is so hard to have negative growth in the third quarter. So the answer to your question, Phil, is I would anticipate that we're slightly positive, like we're up 0.1%, something to that effect. And then as we go into fourth quarter, it's going to start to dip fast and hard and furious. And and then that'll carry over to quarters 1 and 2 of next year. So then you'll get 3 consecutive quarters, which means out of the last 6, you'll have had 1 slightly positive and 5 negatives. And we'll probably still not be in a recession, according to the talking heads on Twitter and some of the other places.
According to the new definition of inflation.
Yeah. So that's a real tough deal. So I would just say if it is slightly positive, it's just a tip of the cap to everybody who was working hard and extra hours and out spending money in July, because July is our best month. And if we can't carry the day in July, Phil, I think we will have 4 quarters of negative GDP and then 2 more for sure until we get back to June and July of next year. I mean, that's it. That's the whole game.
So you're saying that this third quarter this year is basically going to be the old market adage of, well, how high can a dead cat bounce?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a really good way to think about it. And I'm actually super pessimistic. So on the Phil mentioned I was on a show last night where I was pretty cordial with a Biden guy talking about these topics, because I think that the situation is very hard. I think the Republicans have a lot of blame for why the situation is hard, by the way, but just because of what they've been doing for 60 years. Republicans had opportunities to really fix the regulatory state. They never capitalized. They had opportunities to fix the tax code. They never capitalized. And they continue to run up high debt. If you continue to run up high debt, these become serious problems.
What?
Yeah. So from a populist,
look at the disdain.
I was just about to say, sir, the sterling, unimpeachable record of Republicans. I don't know. Sir, you rapscallion ne'er-do well. I don't even know what to say to you, sir.
Ne'er-do-well. Well, so the problem is that we have really, since the end of World War II, we had Ike, incredible president, does not get near enough credit, right? I think Dwight Eisenhower is about the gold standard for presidents. He didn't say, he wasn't out in the forefront. He just quietly did the right stuff, right? He was awesome. Yep. Then we get into the Jack Kennedy years. You can kind of feel about him any way that you want. I kind of don't care. But as soon as we get to Lyndon Johnson, okay, we've basically had a slow deterioration in our GDP growth year over year ever since. There were some years where there were pops, like in the 90s. We remember the pops.
You are a conspiracy theorist at heart. You know, man. It's all stemmed from Lyndon Johnson right after Kennedy got assassinated. Bro, I'm right here with you.
LBJ was kind of he kind of paved the way for the current imperial presidency that we have.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, seriously. And, again, I really like Ronald
outside
Reagan.
Of Woodrow Wilson. He fucked everything.
Well, yeah, but that was, the pre-World War II era gets all messy. But so if you look at Ronnie, well, of course, we all love Ronnie because he was on our team. He had the right message. He did a lot of the really good stuff. He was willing to go into debt to defeat the commies. I get it. I totally understand that. But same thing. He ran on the idea that he was going to get rid of the Department of Education, and he didn't do it. Right? In 1980, he ran on the best thing we can do with the Department of Education is get rid of it. And what did he do? He let it grow. I mean, it's just Republicans have been in on this, like, oh yeah, government's fine as long as we're in charge. And I think that that makes the
education system. It's like an awkward boner. Like you can't just make it go away. You just gotta let it grow and run its course.
Mr. President, I think your son has taken over the microphone. Somebody get Hunter.
Oh God!
Hunter a drink right now.
Somebody tackle Hunter. Get him back into the bunker where he can't fuck anything up.
Holy shit! What in the hell? Chicken?
Oh,
Inception.
I got an
MC Escher.
Shared the wrong screen.
That was
there.
the multiverse. We just broke into the multiverse.
Yeah,
hey, we did.
So
we are the simulation.
There was an enormous amount of weirdness over the last 80, 60, 70, 80 years that brought us to this moment where growth is going to be hard to generate. Even President Trump, with unbelievable tax reform and really good job numbers, we were pumping a 1.2 to 1.5% GDP number. And I mean, that's good. He was positive, right? And he was positive his whole presidency until the one quarter of COVID, and then he was positive again. So, I mean, if you just count it that way, he had 16 quarters. Only one of them was negative due to the pandemic and the overreaction. Yep. And so, like, I don't want to bag on him, but during that period, it's a 1, it's a 1.2, it's a 1.5. I mean, those are okay numbers. But if you go back, Reagan was pulling 2.7, 2.9, 3.2. Right. So the economy was growing at a much faster and sustainable pace. The reason that Trump couldn't do it is we have so much glut of debt and administrative overhang that it makes it impossible for the market to actually do what it wants to do. Now, that's a lot of preamble, Phil. So I wanted to get all that preamble out there because the Biden administration just got us back to the Trump work numbers. OK. They aren't quite as good as the Trump work numbers. I think we're at like a 3.5, something like that percent unemployment rate right now. The Trump numbers were slightly better, but the reason for that had to do with we had higher workforce participation during the Trump years. Okay. But basically,
which to me is the real unemployment. Like that's the number I actually pay attention to because the unemployment number is just a fucking fugazi of like, what are we including and what are we not including? And like, well, you quit looking for a job 60 days in. So we're just not going to include you into the unemployment.
It was kind of funny how we changed how we measure fucking jobs in this country.
Are you implying
and inflation and recession all under Biden? Ain't that convenient?
All of this.
Are you implying that the 2 trillion jobs that this man just created in the last couple of years are a fabrication? How dare you? How dare you?
Well, like one thing I want to point out because I was like, now the person you were on the other night, you can mention it because we've had both Cypher and Tiberius on this show before. So they've both been here. No problem at all. Cypher was talking about like, oh, look at the jobs. Biden's added 500,000 jobs. Isn't this a big deal? But then by his own statistics that he was pointing out, wait a minute. Wages, personal income is still very much in line with past recessions over any kind of trends chart. The personal income of people is still in line with past recessions, and we've added 500,000 jobs. That's not good. You should maybe keep that one to yourself rather than breaking your arm, fucking patting yourself on the back there.
Well, okay. All right. So, Phil, this is a good point. So, of course, there's still a lot of warts in the economy that did not exist during the Trump period. I brought up that personal savings have collapsed. So I don't know about anybody on this panel, but I think everybody's savings account, same thing. We got through July.
401k savings. Yep.
Yeah, all those things are
show of hands. Who's waiting for payday? Oh, wait.
Well,
yeah.
Every week.
Well, I was just chatting with my buddy at work today, and I said, we took a road trip to Utah, okay, to the Mormon motherland, right? You got to go do your pilgrimage to Mecca. That's a joke, by the way. You don't have to do a pilgrimage to Mecca. No, so I had to take my pilgrimage to Mecca, and
you gotta go sacrifice macaroni art once a month.
That's right. We had to go do. So Mormons in Utah are all about Jell-O salads. Okay, so that's like the big thing. It's like us and the Minnesotans. I don't know what happened, but us and the Minnesotans,
the Scandinavians and the Mormons should just come together.
No, and actually, so this is funny. So if you look, a lot of the folks who got baptized into the church, my church, like 200 years ago, they're all Scandinavian. So this doesn't surprise anybody.
See?
We're kind of just like Reformed Lutheran.
They're like the most white people ever.
That's right. And so we brought over all this Jell-O tradition with us. So we're going out to Mecca to have our Jell-O salad, right? That's fine. But I just looked and I said, hey, it cost me a bunch more in travel because of the inflation, right? So I did the same trip that we do almost every July, but now the trip cost me about $20 to $30 more per tank of gas on both legs of the trip, right? And then once you're in town, food costs prepared home prepared food costs are up over 11%. And so we're cooking with family, big gatherings, right? We got 30, 40 people. We're Mormon, right? We know how to party. And so we're hanging out, eating our fried chicken and our we're eating
that's
our
what
fried
he meant by
chicken
party, but yeah.
That's right. You know, me and my women, my harem are out there with me. It's fine. But we're eating, we're having a good time, and everything just costs a little bit more. It cost me almost 18% more this year versus last year. And incomes, to Phil's point, incomes have gone up 1 or 2%. But costs have been at 9 to 15 to 20%, depending on where you are in the country, right? And so you say, all right, so overall, we're at such a negative position, we're all blasting through our savings. So savings are down, corporate profits are down, debt levels are rising.
There you go. Green Jell-O with carrot slivers?
Absolutely. No, by the way, the grossest thing, you get soggy grapes.
We did that in my family.
Oh, for sure. Well, it's because you're a real American.
I'm Swedish.
No, but you get grapes that are kind of soggy that are suspended in the Jell-O with a whipped cream on top. It's not fit for consumption. I'm just telling you right now.
It's not
It
safe.
shouldn't happen. It's not safe. FDA does not approve, nor do I. So one of the few times the FDA and I are on the same page. But like, you just look at it and you go, hold on. We're in a situation where the economy is showing weird signs. Employment is high, granted. Like, let's assume that for a minute, Phil. Let's just take their number at face value and say, fine, you're almost back to the Trump levels of employment. Congratulations. Okay. But because inflation persists, our overall ability to afford the same lifestyle we had in 2019 is compromised. And since GDP is going down, where is the raise going to come from? Right? Yep. This is the problem.
Yep.
All of our lives are downstream of GDP. If GDP is slightly negative, income is up a little bit, which all that means is we're taking money from companies. So that means companies are starting to look at each other like, hold on, if this thing persists, then the layoffs are going to come. And that's the problem. And all of us know this.
It's either prices go up or layoffs come.
Or layoffs. That's it, right? Because if you got to get corporate profits back up, they're trending downwards faster than any time since the great financial crisis. Okay, so
are you implying that all those new jobs that they just created might go away to correct this problem?
Well, Hunter, I will tell you, your part-time job working at the brothel, they're just going to keep you part-time. It turns out what they're really doing is your 40-hour-a-week job became a 29.5 with no benefits, right? Yep. And then you were able to get a second job 20 hours a week at a higher dollar per hour rate, but because you lost your benefits, you're still worse off.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. That's what's happened to a lot of people. It's like, well, I'm working 2 jobs now. It's like, well, you're working harder and you still have less than you did in 2019.
Nate.
Well, it's
Nate, this is all doom and gloom real quick. The president has spoken, and I don't know if you've heard him.
Oh, good Lord.
This is very clear, and we all need to understand.
He's always clear.
Today, I want to say a word about the news that came out today relative to the economy.
Relative to the economy? Oh my gosh.
Zero. Today, we received news that our economy had 0% inflation in the month of July. 0%. Here's what that means. While the price of some things went up last month, the price of other things went down by the same amount. The result, 0 inflation last month. But people were still hurting, but 0 inflation last month.
I think
I can play the whole clip.
I think the Mortal
clip
I think the Mortal Kombat analogy actually made more sense.
Nailed it.
So look, let's talk about this because I got blocked on Twitter yesterday, which this does not happen to me very often. I'm well behaved. I don't troll. I don't put out the fun memes.
Were you honest? Were you honest?
But my mistake was this.
Did you call Demi Lovato a they them?
No, although that would have been hilarious and worthy.
Did
of
you
a block.
talk to Alyssa Milano? Because that's this guy.
But, all right, guys, I gotta know. Like, Nate, what in the flying fuck did you do to piss off anybody anywhere? Okay, let alone Twitter.
Let me set it up for you. So there's a neo-Keynesian guy. He's a blue check mark. He writes for a small outlet online. I don't know why he's a blue check mark, but he is. He's actually very interesting. I think he's crazy, but he's a very interesting guy. And he says the following. Hey, CNBC. So a guy named Frank Luntz, who is a pollster for the Republican Party. Okay.
Very interesting guy.
He's kind of weirdo, whatever. He's a very eccentric. He's very strange. But anyway, he gets on there and he says, hey, I went out and polled people and did focus groups based upon that exact speech that Chicken just showed us. And he says, here's what people told me. He's full of garbage. Nobody felt any relief in the month of July. So it's a lie to say that it's 0% inflation. The voters don't believe it. And this guy retweets that clip and says, how dare you, CNBC? That's a lie. He's flat out lying. It's misinformation. There was 0% inflation in July. And so then I shared the following. And I said, well, hold on a minute. I don't think that here. Let's see if I'm competent enough to do this. I said, hold on a minute.
I'm excited. We get strikes on YouTube from guests every now and then. So let's see.
This is what I shared with him. I said, this is the Cleveland Fed. So there's a regional federal bank of Cleveland that is in Ohio, and it's part of the Federal Reserve banking system. Can you all see this? Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, I got it pulled up.
It says the following. It came out yesterday morning, August 10th. While the year-over-year reading of CPI inflation declined from 9.1 in June to 8.5 in July, median CPI and trimmed mean CPI came in at 6.3 and 7.3.
That fucking graph is terrifying. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this is terrifying.
That's exactly the point.
Look at.
Indicating inflationary pressures remain broad-based. That's the freaking Fed. So I tell the guy, I was like, hey, look, I don't think it's fair to say that Frank Luntz is lying and CNBC is being unethical when the Cleveland Fed is saying the same thing and Biden is saying that we're not in recession. So, of course, I got blocked, right? He responded to the tweet and said no and then blocked me because we're adults. Now, Chicken's point. Let's look at this graph for a minute, okay? Let's look at this graph for a minute because it's fascinating. So the green line is the number that Biden is looking at. So look at this. That green line shoots up like a freaking rocket. You want to talk about Dodge?
It's the worst line on the graph.
But what does it do? It does a little hook there at the top, right? So you kind of, we're just kind of hooked down just a touch. And that's what he's celebrating, right? Yeah, that's what he's celebrating. Now, if you look at some of these other numbers, though, so the purple line is core CPI. That means it focuses on energy. So where is all of the relief? Where did all this zero inflation come from? It's that gas prices normalized. Thank you, Texas, right? This is the shale homies coming in for the win and saving America. I love private industry and I love our people in Texas because they absolutely did, which I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for those homies. I'm grateful for the state of Oklahoma. They've been keeping my nat gas prices pretty manageable in Omaha. I appreciate that. But that's all of that drag. Now look at the other lines, though. If you look at this other thing called median CPI and trimmed mean CPI, all that means is, well, what if you just take out the biggest piece of inflation? This is the trimmed mean CPI. What if we just said, hey, you always get a couple of flyers in every data set. Let's take out the big flyer that moved inflation up the most and the flyer that took down inflation the most. If we take those two out, oh, look, we're still up last month, right? Yep. If you take out gas prices, we're still up. And then if you take a look at median CPI, you say, all right, fine, let's just average it all together and then take the median instead of the average. We're still up. So it means good. I'm glad oil prices came down like 9%, which is a big piece of inflation. And that's great. And I'm thankful for that. But guess what? Everything else is still trending in the wrong direction. And that got me a block on Twitter because, of course, it did. We're not serious people, and people who support the president on this stuff aren't being serious. You have to be honest about what's going on. We have no growth. We have a recovered employment situation that is poorer than it was in 2019. And inflation remains persistent everywhere except gasoline. So you're right. Today is a better day than it was on June 30th. June 30th looked like hell was about to spill out over the whole country. So we plateaued, which is great. I'm glad we plateaued. But what's next? And this is to Phil's point. what's going to happen for the rest of the year? My faith that the Democrats are going to be able to move the economy in a good direction is zilch.
Yeah.
And so now it's just a matter of, all right, Q3 has July in it. We're going to eke out a very slightly positive number, and we're about to have 3 consecutive quarters of negative GDP. And I think we'll still not be in recession magically, but all of us will be feeling it. And then we're in the danger zone getting into March of next year. Okay. If we come into this situation as bad as I think it is, you get to March. This is when, and we all know this, we're all from the Midwest. March is a key month when all the farmers have to go to the banks and they have to say, hey, it's time for us to get our loans that we need to cover our capital costs to plant. Right. And so banks normally in the month of March, they make a bet. The banks in the aggregate make a bet. Are we about to have a good year? And am I going to give good terms on loans? Or are we about to have a bad year? Not just inside of yields, inside of agriculture. They mean the whole freaking economy. Because they're like, hey, if I see risks out in the whole economy, I'm not going to extend a bunch of credit to the farmers. They always take it on the teeth. They're the first ones. They're our first line of defense. If the economy is going to tank, then they're not going to be able to pay us back in the fall. And that is a scary moment. Because then if the banks don't extend the credit that needs to be extended, it will start a run in the stock market and it'll freeze up credit markets for the rest of the year. And then same thing. If yields are bad, come October is the spookiest month. Out of the 13 recessions the U.S. has ever had, 11 of them happened in October or September because yields come back and farmers go, oh, crap, we missed our yield target. Some of us can't pay back all of our money right now. And then the credit markets freeze and the whole economy goes to pot. And I think the Democrats are not in a position to be able to handle those pinches with this economy. So I'm very pessimistic. I don't know what to do. Pay off your debts, folks, if you can. Otherwise, sell your car, sell your firstborn, do what you got to do because we got to trim the fat because the government is going to run us into the ground. That's what I anticipate.
Because like in terms of yields this year and then into next year, the biggest problem is, are we going to be able to resolve our fertilizer problem by next year? Because if not, that's like,
a big one.
Because that's still an issue. Like there's still folks who can't fucking plant what they wanted to this year. And that's because I had no idea how much of the world's fertilizer came from fucking Ukraine. Like I had really no idea. Like it's not like mine personally doesn't come from Ukraine, but I understand like in the aggregate, it's going to affect me in one way or another because now this guy over here is going to try and get fertilizer from a different source. And now and so the problem is like, I think yields are actually going to be pretty good this year. It's going to be a great soybean harvest.
Right.
And not much corn. If you got a field of corn, you are fucking just like dancing in the streets right now if you got a full field of corn. And I got a couple of them and I'm guarding them well.
Well, and to Chat's point, right, there is still yields are going to be okay this year. I don't think it's going to be a banner year, right? But it's a situation.
No.
It's going to be a situation where next year, if yields are a little down, I mean, people are going to die. I mean, and they're going to die from starvation. I don't know. I've been thinking with my wife, what's the worst way to go? Starvation, drowning to death in a cold pool? Like what is it? Because some folks are going to be staring that in the face here before.
Well, that's the thing with the yield market.
Bears.
Like we never thought when we hit $7 corn at one point and then it dropped to $2.50, we're never going to see $7 again. And then finally, eventually, we got back there. And it's like nobody's ever going to learn from their past mistakes of it's going to stay this way for fucking ever. Like they've never farmed before in their life. It's not going to stay that way. So you have to hope that people learn from the last time it hit $7 that, okay, we know it's not going to stay that way forever. Let's plan ahead. I know better. I know they didn't. So yes, we're all going to fucking suffer from that because it's not just here. It's everywhere. There are those farmers that just are going to ride that wave until the wave is nothing. The wave has evaporated.
Brendan Rowe is absolutely correct. Listen to this nerd farm talk.
just because whatever.
Real quick.
Like, why would you want to concern yourself with what happens with your very food production and the way you sustain your own life? Fooey be that.
We want to know, but we don't want to know. Anyway, we are
kind of like watching sausage get made.
Yeah, we're at the 2-hour mark. If you guys want to keep going, I'm happy. We got 2 more stories. If we want to keep,
we can keep
going on, let's wrap up the inflation talk real quick. Give your final thoughts, and then we'll jump into the next one.
Well, if I may, I'll go ahead. Oh boy, inflation. It's kind of the term of our day, and it's affecting every last one of us. And unfortunately, under Biden's, Trump is going to have, on top of the great things that Nate said, that Trump could campaign on, he's going to have another one that he can go on. Let me ask you folks, were you better off under me or under him? And there's not going to be one person who can say, oh, I'm definitely better, because under Biden's economy, everybody's gone down a rung of the economic ladder. If you were wealthy, you're now rich. If you're rich, you're now upper middle class. If you were upper middle class, you're now middle class. If you were middle class, you're now lower middle class. And on down to the point where if you were pretty broke, now you're poor as shit. That's what Biden did to you. And we will see what happens in the coming weeks and months. But Nate, I'm going to hand it off to you. And you were giving me that look of, I've got family and stuff, guys.
Yeah, the missus is messaging me. She's like, "Are you still talking to those drunks?" I'm like, "Well, I better get going."
Yeah.
But,
yes. Drunks don't shut up.
Tell her that flattery will get we love
get you nowhere.
I plan on pulling a Mar-a-Lago and coming down to Phil's place unannounced and uninvited sometime here before harvest hits. I got to make the journey from Omaha to the real land of Nebraska and go hang out with some real people. So,
dude, you're going to be in for a fucking treat that you're not ready for. You have no idea what you're in for.
I told Phil I'm going to give him unpaid labor from my children. I got an 8 and a 6-year-old. They're ready to go out there and just shovel excrement for him. It's going to be lovely.
Nice.
But on the inflation bit, I think that I actually do think we'll start to see prices come down at the cost of the health and the job market, right? The way that costs are going to come down now is not because we're going to have more stuff. It's because folks are going to start getting fired. Folks are going to start losing their ability to buy so much. And so they're just going to stop buying. People are going to start getting skinny, but in the worst way possible, Venezuela style, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's what happens is you say, all right, I can't afford it. You're not going to provide more of it. I'm running out of credit card and savings space. And so you just stop spending. And if you stop spending, that means somebody doesn't get a paycheck. And then they stop spending. And then we get what's called the deflationary spiral. And I don't know how Biden's going to stop that. He's going to have to spend trillions more just to try to reinflate the inflation. And it's like, all right, that's where we're at now. You have to decide, do you want a Great Depression style deflationary environment, or do you want a hot inflationary environment a la the Democrats? By the way, the hot inflationary environment has no end. The deflationary environment, eventually the free market solves that, right? It just says, hey, we continue to slide in prices. The companies that suck will die. The good ones who know how to make the situation better will rise up, and we can get out of this thing. The inflationary side, guess who does great in an inflation? Mega corporations. Mega corporations do great in inflations. Small businesses and enterprises get crushed under inflation. Amazon, they don't care, right? Union Pacific, they don't care.
Oh, it's good for them.
Yeah, this stuff, inflation's been a total boon for Amazon. Even though their corporate profits are down relative to their competition, they're doing great. And so inflation is for the wealthy elites. Deflation is for the poor. And I know that sounds backwards, but honest to goodness, that's how this works. If you want to see the stock market and some of the billionaires go to zero, that's deflation. Everybody gets the wealthy get richer under inflations. And so, I think that we need to take a little bit of capitalism medicine. And I don't think the Democrats will let us. I think they're going to push stimulus and debt forgiveness, and they're going to push child tax credits, and they're going to push other credits, and anything they can come up with to try to push money to reinflate the inflation bubble, they're going to do it. And so, just buckle up, everybody. It's going to be lovely.
Yeah. I'll piggyback on that. I think you're absolutely right, Nate, that in what you just said is 100% true, but you'll never hear a Democrat say that they're going to totally back what the capitalist corporate fucking model is. They're going to tell you that we want to tax the rich and we want to stop these corporations. And they're lying to you. They're getting paid through lobbyists, through these corporations to keep fucking doing what you were seeing right now. And And I'm not going to tell you that Republicans give a shit about fucking normal everyday people. Some do, some don't. Some Democrats do, some don't. But a majority of both sides do not give a fuck about the everyday American. They care about being reelected. Yeah, that's where that, I don't know, maybe this goes into a bigger thing where, which amendment was it that caused the Senate to be elected by the people instead of the representatives? Was that the 17th?
Yeah, 17th Amendment. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. 17th Amendment.
We need to repeal that first off. So we have
let the unicameral decide. I love it.
Love it. We need to go back. Anyway, yeah, the people that represent you don't care about you.
No.
And they're gonna keep fucking you over. I don't know. I'm black-pilled a little bit when it comes to electing representatives that are actually going to make a difference when it comes to monetary policy in this country and to actually help you with taxes and to help you with day-to-day living and to actually build fucking infrastructure that's going to allow you to have, outside of like government assistance programs, nobody's doing anything for you. In those
Trump is your best shot, chicken, and you know it.
It was. I know, and that's why I'm.
And he still is. But not like.
Hold on. I'm not done. These people, they sit here and pretend, and they use all these fucking goddamn statistics of how poverty's gotten better or worse, or dude, like go. I'm in fucking South Dakota. There's less than 1 million people in this state. And I fucking see a homeless dude on the side of every goddamn interstate intersection. I shouldn't see that in the state of South Dakota. I shouldn't see that in Lincoln, Nebraska. I shouldn't see that in Washington, D.C. I shouldn't see fucking an entire block of people in fucking L.A. down the fucking downtown city blocks, fucking tents. Like, if these people actually were doing what they say they were going to do, like, it's not that hard. If it truly, really isn't that hard to set up programs to take care of people, to get them off the streets and stop homeless people from having to fucking die in the streets. They're all lying to you. They're all fucking full of shit. Fuck them all. Stop voting. Voting's terrible.
Okay, enough with the black pill. But now, Nate, before you get going, I wanted to note that, folks at home, there is a 50-50 chance that tomorrow night the great Nate Dallin will grace the KOE Nation. Now, I also understand, Nate, that is far more up to the missus than it is up to you. So we will see. We will see how that goes. So I'm going to advertise it as a 50-50 shot, folks. We'll see what happens.
Let's do this. I think I can commit 100% if you let me do a 9:30 Central Time start time. I'm in. But I don't know how late. I don't know what your timing is. So that's...
I was about to say, if you only got the time for like a half hour to an hour,
hold on,
we'll do that.
If Phil time all of a sudden aligns to Central Time just for Nate, fuck you, Phil. I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah, no shit.
They referred to me like,
that would be.
I am known as Punctual Phil. Like they know I am, like, but it's like, you ever seen Goodfellas?
To talk about
Big Paul didn't move fast for anybody because we
could do a 2-hour podcast just on Phil time and how it's worked.
I forget his name.
I'm going to keep my quick final thoughts on inflation. Very, very simple. I'm still to this day so highly impressed at the job that the political theater has done by giving us a shit sandwich of a fucking administration that we still have to eat it, say thank you, and go, no, what we had, oh, yeah, that fucking Big Mac we had before was just garbage. Oh, you can really taste the corn in this shit sandwich. Oh, it's so yummy. What's that? You got a second helping coming up in November? Yeah, you're right. I think I'd like to order another shit sandwich. No. That filet mignon that really wasn't filet mignon, but God, it would taste like it right now. Yep, second shit sandwich.
Well, Tony, it's just like the Jim Cornette joke. Joe Biden supporters, he could shit into a bowl and they'd thank him for the ice cream.
No, I rather like my 2000 analogy. 2004 analogy. John Kerry could be a monkey in a suit and he'd still get the same amount of votes.
Oh yeah. Like there are just like Republican, Democrat. I don't know. Like you could nominate anybody to those parties, and there will be a base number of people that though they will get. It wouldn't matter. Like the Democrat, like especially in 2020, the Democrats could have nominated Satan himself, and they would have still turned out to vote for him because they
realize there were so many layers to Satan.
All right, let's wrap this up. We don't need to talk about Satan.
Satan has feelings.
Hey, guys. Nate, shout yourself out. You got some family in to get back to.
I love you all. This has been a true pleasure. You're great Americans.
Thank you, Nate.
We'll talk.
All righty. He's like, all right. I was kind of like, all right, guys.
You're true Americans. Talk to you.
We're drunk as shit and we're rambling. Nate's been doing the I gotta go signal for like 10 minutes.
What is this shit? Look,
Tony
Steven,
just admitted.
this
Right,
is
yeah,
the way.
catch up on chat because this shit's getting out of control.
No,
And I gotta go now that Nate's not here. And yes, poking the bear. Brendan, Trump ain't shit. Guess what? No. I'm sorry, Brendan. He is what Chicken was talking about. Your chance to actually have a productive private life. Fucking Trump is as close as you're gonna fucking get. And you, Brendan, hang on. You, Brendan, Mr. Libertarian. Mr. Libertarian,
stop for a second.
Give me just a second. I'm not done yet.
Tony,
Mr. Trump,
full comments without us being able to fucking read them, you cunt.
All right. But no, Brendan, Mr. Libertarian himself saying garbage president, Trump ain't shit. Guess what? He is as close as you are ever going to get in your lifetime to a third party candidate ascending to the White House. Okay. He was the Reform Party in the 90s. So I'm sorry, Brendan. The idea that he is some sort of garbage, he is as close as what guys like Tony and guys like you have desired for decades, and yet it's still not good enough. This man who brought untold prosperity and peace throughout the world is somehow some shit tier president, gave us tax relief that we desperately needed before these awful times that Joe Biden led us into. You think that he's garbage? Well, guess what, Brendan? He's still gonna make your life more prosperous anyways when he wins in 2024, and you're still gonna blame him, still call him garbage, and he's still gonna make your life better for it nonetheless.
Brendan Roy, I will tell you that your life 3 years ago was better than it was today.
Oh, because like I said, and Lynn pointed out.
Oh my god!
Now we're just poking.
No, I missed a bunch of comments now because he was just spitting fire there for a while.
All right, real quick, we'll get through these last two stories real fast, and then we'll get off of here. The most vilified population prison counselor for sex offenders calls to destigmatize. Feels like I don't want anything to do with this one. Calls for sex offenders calls to destigmatize pedophiles. Okay. This is one that's important to talk about. So let's read the story here.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Miranda Galbraith. Miranda
Ballbreath, yes.
Yeah, Ballbreath. A professional counselor who provides evaluations and treatment for sex offenders in prison and in her community called for a destigmatization of pedophiles in YouTube video posted in July.
Don't gloss over that. What you said was literally the destigmatization of pedophiles. I just want to be clear.
I just said that. Anyway, she's a member of the American Association of Sexuality Educators, Counselors, Therapists. It's AASECT, called Pedophiles, in quotations, minor attracted persons, claiming they are probably the most vilified population of folks in our culture.
I wonder why.
Reason.
Let me. I'll kick this off, and then I'll let you guys fucking handle it. The reason they are the most vilified is because they are the most fucking dangerous to not only the culture, but to the innocence of America and the future of America, or to the future of anybody's fucking lives. These people have ruined a fuck ton of people. You want to change the name of pedophile to whatever.
MAP.
Change it to whatever. MAP. You want to change it to cunt. You want to change it to kid fucker. I don't care.
Kid
You're
fucker
still
works.
the same thing. If you like, we have a language for a reason. We have words that describe people. Pedophile is a word that describes somebody who's going to sexually abuse an underage child. That is a very clear description. And that person should have a definition to them so you know that they shouldn't be around. Just like a murderer. You don't want a murderer around. You don't want a serial killer around. You don't want a rapist around. Like, how many of these words do you want to change the definitions of to make them feel better? Am I worried about how the pedophile feels that like he might rape an underage child and sexually abused an underage child? I need to worry about how he or she feels about the name I give them after they've committed an atrocity? Fuck you. We have words for a reason. Use them. And we use them appropriately to shame you for a fucking reason, because you deserve to be shamed.
Now, it's kind of funny where she's like, we need to stop. We need to try to destigmatize. Certain things should be stigmatized. They just should. And I know like we're living in this odd modern era where everything's supposed to be okay. But
I bet she stigmatizes Republicans.
Probably. But now, like, let's like to this thing. I refuse to give up the acronym MAPS or MAP. To this, but if they do end up insisting on it, like you can really easily label people pedophiles on things like TikTok now, where you just have like 10 seconds of footage of them, and then you take the Dora the Explorer audio. I'm the map. I'm the map. I'm the map. And so, like, like you can really easily, like, if you want to go down this route, folks, the right will fucking out meme you to death. Okay, like it's like the right will always the postmodern era, and it's not a good thing, Jack. Let me tell you something, Bucko. Now, did you know about the lobsters? Oh wait,
the argument here. Pop her face back.
You got some benzo?
If you can pop the image of this bitch up real quick. I want to be very clear.
Okay, let me get back.
I want to be crystal fucking clear on this, because this is important. I think because people who advocate for this. Her name is Miranda Galbraith, and her face looks like this.
Like that's my first thought.
She physically looks like a penis wearing glasses. That's fine. That's not indicative of her opinions. But
wait, is this Sinead O'Connor?
Yeah, basically, just less sexy somehow. So her pronouns, Brendan, I believe I'm assuming, sorry, I could be wrong by saying her pronouns are probably pedo and phile. Now she's some form of psychiatrist who sympathizes with pedophiles because she says that there's a difference between
all
pedophilia.
Her video got blocked.
Oh, darn.
Oh.
Shucky darn. Because she says that there's a difference between being a pedophile and being a person just simply attracted to somebody who would be a minor, which is the same thing as pedophilia. And I don't give a fuck how you want to spin it. There's not a difference. There's not a fucking difference. We're not talking about a difference between, are you attracted to a minor? Well, then you're just a minor attracted person, a MAP. Or did you physically assault a minor? Because then you're a pedophile. No, there's not a difference. We're not talking about the act. We're talking about the sickness.
This is no, Tony, you're right. There is a sickness. There's a deep level of scummery. There's like this weird like fucking group of people that are like really attracted to kids that are like fucking like 15, 14, 13, whatever the age may be. But like
she's equating this to homosexuality right there in that quote.
Yeah. And maybe I'm not trying to give her any credit here, but there is this weird thing in society to where like we're probably going to be there someday to where we're 70 years old and we're looking at pictures of 30-year-olds.
Right.
And we're going to be like, dude, she's hot.
Sure.
That's going to happen. Now,
oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's not pedophilia. That's creepy. Yeah. I'll say it's creepy. I'll be a creepy old man.
Ric Flair plays that game all the time. He's just a fucking player.
Yeah.
There's a difference, though, between somebody who's actually
developed.
What
you're saying when it's somebody who is under the age of development, total development.
Yeah, development. Exactly.
Like, let's like be super conservative and give it the age of 25. Under the age of 25, yeah, that's kind of rapey and kind of pedophilia. Like, is one, the girl's not old enough to make up her fucking own decisions. Like, if you're a 70-year-old guy and you want to like you want to be attracted to somebody who's younger, under 25, that's kind of, I'm gonna say 25 is my limit. Now,
oh god, chicken, like you're reminding me right now of a meme where it went really hardcore feminists and how much they hate on guys if they date young, and it shows a scene from CSI and the guy's in his face, "You son of a bitch, she was only 18." And I'm like, okay, maybe like, unfortunately, like, now chicken, Anna Nicole Smith and J. Howard Marshall happened.
I
so
know.
Like, that's just
I
one
know.
of those things. That's like, because this is the reality of it, and some people call it preachy, but no, this is the reality.
Dude,
Women,
I have nieces,
well, hang on.
nieces at 20 years old that creeps me
Well,
out.
hang on. Women arrive on the sexual marketplace wealthy, and over time they grow poor. Men arrive on the sexual marketplace poor, and over time grow wealthy. And that's the very odd, like, because like the older you are, the more experienced you are, the better you are at gathering resources. And then even strangely enough, like even if you're a married man with children, women will actually consider the quality of your children when they're thinking about whether they're going to shack up with you or not. And so like, it's,
if you want to take sexuality to a completely primal level, the inhibitions at a primal level are viability of sexual intercourse. What is the viability on a primal level of a minor who's not actually developed to the point that they can actually conceive to a beneficial level? That's what we're talking about here. Because this bitch, this cunt, this twat is equating pedophilia to homosexuality, because you can't choose your sexuality. You can't choose that you're just attracted to someone who's a very, very young person who hasn't been fully developed.
I thought the homosexual community was doing everything they could to avoid that comparison for the last 30, 40
I'm sure
years.
they still are.
Like,
this bitch is doing a disservice to the LGBTQ community. 100%.
Because she's trying to add a P, and it don't stand for pansexual neither.
Exactly. And that's the fucking problem here. We're not adding, we're not being more inclusive here. We're being fucking disgusting here. You're trying to make it okay. And I understand the idea behind, look, you think this bitch is cute and she's only 12. That's different than actually going and fucking her. Okay, but that's still creepy as goddamn hell. And if we're going to say that that's okay, all you're doing is furthering the idea that pedophilia is okay, and that's not fucking okay. You stupid goddamn twat. Where did you get your degree? The goddamn University of Phoenix Tech?
Now, here's a fascinating thing about the
University
discourse.
of Phoenix is a established good.
I was about to say, there's plenty of people with legit
or whatever
degrees
the fuck, the online one that we always make fun of.
I was about to say, but this is something that's interesting, because this is one of the few shows where you can still. This is one of the few corners of the internet where you can still say the word groomer. Where what's for now, but what's fascinating about that discourse is that like places like Twitter are starting to ban that word, where you can't use it at all. And I even know some forums where they're banning. And here's the thing, like the reason is it's kind of like the inverse of racist for Republicans. Like, as if you call somebody racist, they can't really get it off of them. And for Democrats, if they're like somebody's called a groomer, they can't really get it off of them. And so,
yeah, okay.
Well, what that means. Oh, now I remember where I was going with this. What's happened, though, is the right has a very fascinating mechanism here, where if you ban the term, then that means that you are either indifferent or complicit to the harm being done to children. And so if you ban the term groomer, then that means that you're actually on the side of these groomers and these people trying to do these things to children. And so do you see, like, it's actually it's actually an interesting mechanism that the right has in this discourse, where the left just has not found a counterpunch to it. They're trying to go back to the old well of Bannon, and all that's doing is doing the Streisand effect, where people are drawing more and more attention to it, because because I think that's the wider conversation this is eventually going to get to. Like, this woman here, she is just a symptom of a much larger and wider illness. And
I don't want to say look at the bitch, but Jesus, look at the bitch.
Yeah. Real quick, I know we got another comment popping up there. Real quick, folks, make sure you subscribe on our Facebook page. If you don't like doing the star thing to make us drink, if you subscribe, you get a free drink or shot to anybody on our page every single show, every single week. So make sure you hit that subscribe button in the chat. And Lynn West says, we will live in an age where we could be canceled in 10 years for being pedophobes. That is a possibility, the way things are going.
That is terrifying, but true. 100% true. Because we know, look, there are people in this world that actually don't seem to remember.
Fucking pedo trans or transphobic.
Well, no. It is true, because at one time when it was okay,
if this lady has her way, yes, it will be.
At one time, it was socially acceptable to use homophobic slurs because homophobia was not a thing yet.
Because it was kind of gay.
Jesus Christ, chicken, and even believe it or not, those of you who don't remember 20 years ago, you could get away with saying the N-word on television if you just used an A instead of an ER. Lynn's right. We are on the cusp of being able to be canceled by a community that's trying to join another community because of their fucked up, twisted, weird-ass fetish of liking underage children. Now, what does underage mean? We all know what the fuck it means, and I don't care if we're talking about social norms or definitions of standards and blah, blah, blah. Just being a decent human being will take care of all those fucking problems. I don't give a fuck what you're attracted to. If you're attracted to a cow, a rock, another man, the opposite sex, I don't care. If you're not supposed to fuck it, don't fuck it. It's that simple. It's that simple.
That's pretty fair.
It really is. And we're not talking about, let's move the goalposts for society. No. Sometimes the goalposts don't need to be fucking moved. And if you're trying to advocate for the idea that people should be allowed to daydream and fantasize because they just happen to be attracted to younger children, that doesn't make it okay. I don't care if they can't change their mind. Some people are sick in the fucking head, and I'm sick and goddamn tired of trying to further the idea that because somebody has a mental fucking illness, that we should accommodate the illness instead of trying to fix it. Fix your fucking self, moron. You stupid cunt.
It's like the Joe Rogan bit where he talked about, like, dudes who like to fuck little kids are like dogs that like to bite dudes in the dick. Yeah. You just kind of have to put that crazy sumbitch down.
Yeah.
So that's a Joe Rogan bit, not to be construed as actual advice.
I don't think it's a necessarily a mental illness. It's a lack of
sickness of the soul.
Yeah, it's a sickness of the soul, and some people it's a lack of control.
Bad product. What do you do with bad product? You throw it in the trash.
Like there's so many ways to perceive pedophilia as ways that could be wrong. And nobody's looking
there's so many ways it's wrong.
Well, nobody's looking at ways to correct that behavior and looking at it to go, oh shit, think about it this way or change your mind here. Like nobody's trying to do it that way. They're just like, oh my God, you like to fuck kids? Tell me why. Like,
well, I think the only real
our society right now is like, oh, you like to fuck kids? Let me give you a hug and you tell me why, and then I'll show you pictures of naked children. Like that like God. We're such a coddling, gross fucking like.
We don't need to coddle more. We need to fix the problem.
Amplify this shit so much instead of like grabbing somebody by the hand at 11 years old and going, do it again. I'm going to fucking do that to your face.
Yeah.
And then when they do it again, sometimes you need the threat of violence. I talked about this once before. the threat of violence is the thing that moves this country forward. It's what's moved society forward from day one. It's why people don't murder each other. It's
fear is sadly a greater motivator than love.
It is the biggest motivator. And the reason you don't go out in the street with your dick hanging out is because you know somebody will commit violence.
I don't want to show
you.
off to the neighbors.
Well, not only that, but you know whether it's police, neighbors, or animals, whoever it is, there is a threat of violence on you when you do certain things. And you don't do those certain things. We all don't do them because we all know, whether it's from our neighbors, from our friends, from our family, or from police or the government or the state or whoever it may come from, there is a threat of violence on certain things that you do wrong in this country. And as soon as we start allowing these things to go by without the threat of violence, you are gonna fucking reap the consequences. Saying groomer in 2035 is just as bad as saying the N-word. Nostradamus, probably.
Yeah.
That is Lynn's prediction, and that is sadly going to be prophetic.
I don't think it's going to be 2035. It's probably going to be in the next year. But again, the threat of violence. If we do not have that perceived threat of violence on day-to-day actions, whether it's at work, if you don't do your job, you're going to get fired. That's violence. You get fired from your job, that's violence, right? Technically can be construed that way because it's going to hurt your life. It's going to hurt your income. It's going to hurt your life. You're like, you can't do certain things anymore because you don't have an income. If you look at it from that type of broad aspect of violence, of like losing income, losing popularity, losing, like, there's a lot of,
you can justify just about anything under that. Like to me, I've never really seen that as violence, because if you're giving somebody something and then you cease to give them something, that's not violence.
Well, no, but it's the cultural norm perspective of it, to where if you tend to be somebody who plays with little girls, you were going to lose your job, whether you get thrown in jail or not. You're probably going to lose your job. Your neighbors are going to hate you. That's like, you can put that as perceived threat of violence because you're not going to want to confront your neighbors about that. You're not going to be like, why aren't you talking to me? Just because I talked to some fucking 13-year-old girl and we might have fucked. Like that, you know what I mean? Like,
Jesus.
But
and then magically that guy didn't have any teeth in his head half hour later.
Exactly.
Which is totally fair, nor should
Again, that perception of fucking violence is there when you do things wrong. When we allow people to think that there's no violence going to happen with things that they do wrong, which is what she's doing. This lady, she's trying to say, don't be violent to pedophiles. What do you think that's going to do? It's going to make pedophiles go, oh, I can get away with this?
Mm-hmm.
That person's
There's certain
wrong.
things that just shouldn't be considered acceptable. Now, guys, I think we've kind of beat this this topic almost to death.
I hated this topic from the
well.
I hated it.
Well, it is one of those things where it's like, I remember one time I was watching an episode of Cops with a bunch of folks at a party, and a girl goes, "You know who I hate? Pedophiles." And I was like, I don't think you're going to get anybody at the party like, yo, you know, let me tell you something. Now, granted, Vosh wasn't there at the party, so he that would have been about the only one, maybe. So,
he'd have to leave his mother's basement to go to a party. Yeah.
No, actually, turns out his parents are. He's a Champagne socialist. His parents are incredibly rich. His father works in Hollywood, and he grew up in Beverly fucking Hills.
Oh, crazy that he has all these stupid fucking opinions.
That's why he's a socialist. Okay, I get
it. Yep. He's a Champagne socialist, and he's,
that's cute.
So he's gonna blow all of his parents' hard-earned.
Weird that he likes kids, allegedly.
Not surprised he's possibly a groomer, allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Well, I don't even know if that's allegedly at this point.
I'll go with allegedly just so we can keep streaming next week.
Anyway, folks, let's wrap this up. Phil. You know what to do, sir.
Well, folks, as I'm known to say around here, all that being said, thank you for joining us here at episode 150 150 nuclear raid, folks. I am your king of extreme, Phil KOE, the man of the hour, the man with the power, the man that makes the other podcast cower, the prince and potentate of the political parlance, the lord of the Scottish Highlands, the conqueror of the ethereal, and one damn handsome man, if I do say so myself. You can find me, of course, at KOE Nation on YouTube, KOE Nation on TikTok, KOE Nation on Twitch. Go there right now after this show is over to check out the final championship match of the 32 ride tournament. Yes, you can find that at StreamYard, but you can find the post show and a link to KOE Nation all at Linktree/BigBuckin right there at the little down there ticky part. So be sure to go there, find KOE Nation, find the post show, be here for this KOE content and all of your Big Buckin' Empire needs. And next week, folks, the bourbon tournament kicks off, and also possibly tomorrow night on KOE Nation, we'll have a Nate Dallin special. So we will see what happens there, folks. But folks, every last one of you, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. God bless every last one of you. Raise a glass to yourselves, and I hope every last one of you makes it back here to the Big Buckin' Empire on YouTube and Facebook. Happy, healthy, much the wiser. Tony, Chicken, take it away.
I'll jump on in. Yeah, Tiberius, we're just jumping off and wrapping up the night. We talked about
come to the post show though, Ty.
Stuff tonight. Yeah, welcome to the post show. Don't stream that though, by the way. But yeah, you never know what we're gonna say there. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, we talked about a lot of stuff tonight. Between the Trump stuff, fucking went into the weird pedo stuff.
Demi.
Yeah, Demi. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up the entire night with pay attention to your family. Take care of the ones close to you because they're the only ones that actually care about you. The people you vote for, the people you donate money to, the people that you fucking think that are out there watching your back, no matter how big they are, whether it's Donald Trump or Joe Biden or Demi Lovato or Kim Kardashian or Kanye West. Like, no, they don't care. But I'm going to tell you what, folks, we care. We care here. So support us. And help us any way you can, whether it's just liking the stream, sharing the stream, or just jumping in the comments. We appreciate all that. Or the biggest thing you can do is subscribe to us on the Facebook page, and just for $5 a month helps us keep going and doing this shit for free as we've always done. Any support we get, you don't have to pay, so it's still free for everybody else. Anything you can do is always welcome. Anyway. Final thoughts on the night, I guess, would be, yeah, kind of fuck everybody right now. I'm trying not to become black-pilled as I was before, but the way I see our government handling basic bullshit day to day, the gaslighting from Joe Biden and his team, how they're attacking Trump, they're setting themselves up for failure. If I were Democratic leadership right now, I'd be like, stop pushing the Trump. Stop even talking about Trump. Back off. Leave Trump alone. Act like he doesn't exist. They did everything they could for how long to make him not exist, and they still only talk about him. They're like, they are not playing this hand at all. They have a great hand. Heading into 2022 and 2024, they have this great hand where he's not on Twitter, he's not on Facebook, he's not on YouTube. There's so many things he can't say, and all they do is talk about him, and they make him the news story every week. If they truly wanted to get past Trump, they would shut the fuck up, leave him alone, and act like he didn't exist. That's all they would have to do. Now, guess what? True Social has been the #1 app for like fucking 3 months straight. It is going to be the new Twitter. True Social will be more popular than Twitter. Mark my words, folks. Mark my words. True Social by November will have as many downloads and active users. Well, I don't know about active users, real ones.
Twitter's always got more bots.
It's going to be a competitor to Twitter by November. I'm calling it now. True Social's going to be the way they're moving on Trump right now. It's just going to get more popular. Everybody who's not on there, they're getting on. The Democrats have not learned from 2016. They haven't learned from 2020. They don't learn. If anything that I've learned over the last 10, 20 years of politics is Democrats are fucking stupid. They don't learn. Republicans react and learn and adapt surprisingly well in the last probably 4 to 8 years. Democrats don't. Democrats stick to the same game plan. It's all fucking old Clinton fucking strategy shit, and they haven't learned anything new. It's so sad because both parties could be so much better, but here's where we're at, folks. So Trump 2024, fuck it, let's go.
Woo! God
Tony,
bless.
Wrap it up, buddy.
That's good advice. Wrapping it up. Wrapping it up. That is great advice in 2022. You know, with inflation having 0% in July, according to our amazing President Joe Biden, the last thing you'd want to do is bring another kid into this fucking world. Trust me, daycare is expensive. Look, I don't care what Demi Lovato calls herself. She's still a twat. Inflation is very fucking bad. He created no goddamn jobs. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you for pushing any of those lies on us. And 0%. Fuck everybody who believed that shit. I don't care. I don't care if politicians are held accountable for actual crimes. I think that's actually a noble cause if politicians are held accountable and actually persecuted for actual crimes. But when we only do it for political theater, what the hell? If we only do it for political theater and not for the actual reason for the crime, then what the fuck was the point of it? What actually did we gain from it? Nothing. Because does Mar-a-Lago being raided by the FBI open the door for Hillary's emails to mean anything? For Hunter's laptop to mean anything? For Joe's quid pro quo in Ukraine to mean anything? For Obama keeping napkins with nuclear code? No. It doesn't mean shit. This doesn't open the door for anything. That doesn't mean that any politicians are actually going to be held accountable for anything. This is just more political theater. And the only reason that Trump is being the center of attention for political theater is because he's not a career politician.
Because Orange Man bad.
So, yes, folks, the show's so nice we had to outro it thrice. So, folks, this is episode 150.
I would say Tony was just giving his final thought.
Yeah, I was trying.
Episode 150.
End the fucking show.
Okay,
we already got people crowding in the post show, folks. So definitely join us in the post show.
Yeah, Zombie Batman. It was a good one.
I will catch you guys in the post show. Definitely be over there,
All
folks.
right, we'll see you over there, sir. Yeah, Zombie Batman. It was a great show. Tony, it feels like fuck you guys in the live.
No, it's okay. Phil
the
doesn't
current
care.
live show. Fuck all of you guys in the live show.
Phil's like, I got my outro in. Like, I'm happy. I don't
Tiberius showed up in the post show, I bet, and he was like, "Oh my god, Tiberius!"
That makes sense. Yeah,
That's probably what happened.
Phil's got his crushes, and he's got to go
he does.
tend to them, so that's fine. It's not like I was talking or anything. It's not like
finish up, brother. Finish up.
No, I'm done. I'm just sick of the political theater, and I'm sick of people who think that this is actually going to be meaningful, that this is actually going to change anything, that this is actually going to be impactful. Don't be fooled. Look, it's still the same goddamn game plan. We're not voting for policy. We're not voting for change. We're not voting for politics. We're voting because I don't like this guy and this guy doesn't like me. That's all you're ever going to vote for. That's never going to change. Not in our lifetime, folks. So don't pretend it's not. Keep that in mind when you actually vote. See through the bullshit, whether it's midterms, actual elections, or fucking anything.
No, Dalton, I don't want you to leave. I want you to join the post show, buddy.
Jesus,
go to Linktree/Big Buckin to get the post show link, or I think Tony posted it in the chat as well.
Yeah.
Join us over there, folks. We look forward to you jumping into that post show and talking with us over there as we wrap out the night. It's been a fun show. We appreciate you all. We look forward to you joining us again next week. Those of you on Facebook, please do consider subscribing.
Yes.
$5 a month. That gives you 4 free drinks every month, one for every show that you can fucking chug some goddamn gin or make me drink some shitty LTD or make Tony. We need to get Tony's gross drink. But anyway, look forward to
water. Hate it.
Yeah, I hate water. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you over in the post show, or we'll see you next week right here, because this is the greatest show you ever watch week after week, where you get all your political news, all your cultural war updates and everything that you love to hear. Appreciate you all. Love you. We'll see you next week. Bye.
And see if it just smooths itself out.
Back, tell you what I'll do. If I ever get back, I promise to refabricate you, raging rivers of gold. That's what the brochure advertised. And now we're lost, we gotta take it down. Let you get